Hey guys, what's going on? This is John Fears. Welcome back to Fearsman26 and the Fears podcast. We have survivalist, TikToker, YouTuber Donny Dust. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Howdy, howdy. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing great. I'm doing
No
great.
problem, man. It's been 2 years. I've been following you for 2 years, and I have been ever since I watched probably your first three videos. I'm like, I got to get that guy on my podcast.
Right
So
on.
so I've been wanting to do this for a while. So first of all, welcome. How's the weather been in Colorado? How's everything been going?
It's good. The temps have been slowly dropping. We've been in the 80s, but now we're kind of hanging around in the high 70s. So it's getting
Mhm.
cooler, which is nice.
Yes, finally it's starting to cool off here in Florida because man, it is crazy. It's
I bet.
the heat is. Have you and your family ever been to Florida?
Yeah. We went a couple years ago. I don't remember where, but it was on like the east coast of Florida somewhere, and
Hmm.
it's nice. Just went to the beach and kind of hung out. And I get a little antsy on the beach because I like to fish or like do things, so it's hard for me just to like hang on the beach. But
Yeah,
uh,
some beaches out here are very crowded, but some are very like you can fish, you can surf, you can do all that stuff. So it just depends on what beach you go. But
yeah.
let's get right into it. So first of
Sure.
all, I always start, with any interview, I always start with the origins. How did all this start? How did the TikTok start? How did YouTube start? How did you come to find your love for being out in nature and making everything with your hands?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, the origin story really starts when I was, a kid. So I'm 46 years old.
Hmm.
And I kind of grew up in that era where YouTube and all of the social media stuff just didn't exist. And
Yeah,
when you were, younger, you were outside, you were playing, you were doing all these things. So I've
absolutely.
always had a love for the outdoors and hiking and fishing and the whole kind of collection of things. But it was only after my time in the military and once I had some kids where I kind of went more into that like social media route, mainly because my youngest son at the time, he wanted to go onto TikTok. That was
Yeah,
his thing. His friends were on it, and as a responsible parent, I was like, well, dude, if you're gonna go on it, I want to monitor because there was all these,
yeah,
rumors of this and rumors of that. So he
yeah.
went on it,
You have to be
and
careful.
yep, I created an account just so I could kind of keep tabs on them. And then I like the stuff that was showing up in my feed for whatever reason. I was like, what is this? It was all this dancing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't anything that I was interested in. So I kind of told him, I said, hey, pal, we're probably going to come off of this because I don't think it's the most appropriate. And then he kind of educated me at the age of 12 and was like, well, if you look at certain like hashtags, it will kind of lead you into the interest of what it was. So my interest was like, survival and caveman and flint napping, and none of
Hmm.
that stuff existed. So he gave me the advice. He's like, why don't you just sit down and do what you always do, but just hit record. So I
That's
did
cool.
that. Yeah, it's funny. The 12-year-old young man gave me some sage advice, which really benefited. But so I just started doing that, and the first couple videos were just random, and then people started leaving a lot of comments. I'd make a sword, or I'd make any number of the things you kind of see behind me,
Hmm.
and I just started replying to those comments, and it just kind of turned into this thing and quickly snowballed into where it is today. So TikTok is its thing, but I kind of started my journey on YouTube and really all social media around 2017. Prior to that, I was never on it, never needed it. There was no point.
Okay.
I was always out in the woods doing my thing. And then when I was 37, I had a heart attack, and it wasn't because of drugs or alcohol or eating poorly. It was just my blood holds on to certain lipids a little bit more,
Hmm.
and I just had a heart attack, and that's kind of the turning point for me when I decided to go onto social media and kind of share a little bit more of the things that I do, the skills that I have, and kind of educate, maybe inspire, and just kind of inform people in different ways. So there's kind of multiple ways things started. I think it's more of an evolution, a slow change over time.
I think
But
it's I think it's great that you started, your son. Like it went from TikTok with your son, and then your TikTok. You can monitor your son's TikTok from
yeah,
YouTube, and But when you were a kid, did you go to? I did Boy Scouts? Did you do Boy Scouts? Obviously, that probably helped with it too.
So I was in the Boy Scouts for probably like, I'd say like a month and a half, maybe two at the
Hmm.
most, because it was right when like Nintendo kind of hit America,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's just what like all of these guys in the Scouts wanted to do, was play Nintendo, and I get it, it was interesting, but it wasn't my thing. I was all about camping and fishing and playing in the woods. So
yeah.
the Scouts was never really a thing. It was my own kind of curiosities into the natural landscape that, come here. Come here, Finn. Finn
Yo,
wanted us to
Finn.
say hello. Come here.
Yo, Finn. What's
Come
up?
on. Come here, buddy. Come on.
Oh
Come
man,
on.
Finn is definitely a part of the show on
There
TikTok.
he is.
Yo, what's up, Finn?
Finn's here. He's when he hears me talking, he wanted to come. But yeah, it was just one of those things where, I was outside, and that was my classroom, if you will. So
Yeah, I
it was
had the
fun.
pleasure of like having both. Like I did Boy Scouts, my dad did Boy Scouts, and I had some friends that were all into fishing, camping, woods. My dad, before he died, he was really
Oh,
into
wow.
fishing and all that stuff. And my dad, just like you, was in the service. So thank you for your service.
Oh, my pleasure. No worries.
My dad was in the army. He did two jobs. He did paratrooping on the
Cool.
weekends, and then he was a military police officer. So
Oh, right on.
so
That's
I
cool.
got a lot of that training and stuff from my dad, and then like I said, half of my friends wanted to play video games, and I was like, when Boy Scouts is done, we'll hit some Mario up, and then
Yeah.
whenever it's time to do all that stuff with my dad, I'm ready to do all that.
Oh, that's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
So my
That's
next
super cool.
question is, I wanted to talk about your website. When I was doing my research, I loved your tagline. It said, "Creativity is your first survival skill," and
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with that because, like, I'm ever since I was 5, I love art. Any type
Cool.
of art. I don't care what it is. Painting, sculpting, writing, flint knapping, whatever. If it's considered art, I love art. And the reason why I brought that up is I wanted to know why do you think creativity is your first survival skill? If you could go into it.
Yeah. I mean, when you really think about, who we are as a species and how we've kind of, come from an early hominid all the way up to where we are today, we could only really rely on nature in creating the things that we needed. We didn't have big claws. We weren't the fastest of runners. We did have big brains, which
Hmm.
allowed us to create. And pretty much everything you see around you in this modern world is something we have created. And it's that creativity is supplying us with kind of a requirement, or solving a problem, whether it's the clothes on our backs or the ability to communicate. And I think for me, I love that all of these things somebody sat down, thought up, and brought it into life. Just like everything you see behind me, those
Yeah.
are in that more primitive landscape, and those are those early tools that we needed to survive. But you don't have to know everything and anything about survival. If you ever found yourself in a situation where you just needed to problem solve, your creative process is very likely to solve those problems. I mean, how many times you've been standing, outside, all of a sudden it starts to rain. What do? You just quickly say, I should get out of the rain. Let's find some shelter. Let's find an overhang. Let's
Yeah.
find a place to go. It's very simple in that analogy, but what could you do if you were in the middle of an open area and those things didn't exist? Well, maybe you could use some big leaves. You still have the same problem solving. So that creative process is something we can build upon. It's something we're kind of born with. And
Hmm.
I think it really kind of shapes who we are as an individual, as well as really shapes that modern society that we live in.
I absolutely love that, and I 100% agree. Like I would
Right
say,
on.
your creativity and also your mind.
Yeah,
They work hand in hand. Like you said, if you're in a situation, you're like, oh man, I need to think quickly and I need to think decisively to get out of this situation.
sure.
And I also love how you say in your videos, anything is an option.
Yeah, everything and anything, man. I also like to say it's a way, it's not necessarily the way. As long as you're getting the outcome that you want, or maybe that
Yeah.
collective group needs, it works.
And
It's a way,
first time
not
I
the
heard
way.
you say that was in when someone asked you to do a quiet day one, and then you're like you point to that pigeon, and you're like, well, anything's an option, because
Yeah,
you
every.
know. And I loved that video. I was like, oh,
Oh,
I gotta bring that video up whenever me and Donnie hang out and talk. I was like, I
yeah.
love that video.
That was a fun shootout in New York City. That was a good time. I
And
enjoyed
there was
it.
a lot of TikTokers in there, a lot of them.
Yeah, there was quite a few. I wasn't quite familiar with who everybody was, but as we were doing the shoot in Aki's Deli and kind of learning, I was like, oh, everyone was super friendly and super nice. I was kind of the odd guy out, obviously I was a little bit, older, but everyone was super friendly, and it was just fun kind of, having seen some of the movie and seeing how it worked with a
Yeah,
kind of a sneak peek, I guess you could say. That's kind of one of the benefits. You get to watch it in advance, and then seeing how your role could kind of play into this little skit.
yeah.
It was pretty fun. I
But
enjoyed
I'm
it.
right there with you. Like, we're the older guys. I'm 41, you're 46. I'm about to be 42. So a lot of TikTokers are like 30, 25,
Yeah.
37-ish. And I'm like, I'm going to do TikTok and YouTube till the day I die because I love YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, like I just did a YouTube video yesterday. I haven't posted it yet, but it's just me answering questions that I usually get in my comment section. And somebody asked something like, what is it like to be a successful YouTuber? And I'm like, well, you have to understand, just if somebody has 1 million followers, it doesn't mean like they're making hundreds of millions of dollars. That's not the case. I
Yeah.
deliver material to a very small audience, people that are interested in survival and flint napping. But where I find my success is that hopefully I'm helping you kind of spark your curiosity, maybe solve some of the problems you're facing. But where I'm profitable is that if 1,000 people really like my stuff, those people will show up and they'll watch it. There's a
Mhm.
consistency
Yeah.
in those people. So for me, that's a very, very big success. The other profit is I don't have to, I'm not doing anything extra because I would be doing it anyway. Like this morning, I made a stone axe.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to use that stone axe in some upcoming adventures. So all I did was hit record, and that's where I think my biggest kind of return on my time is. I would be doing these things anyway, so I'm not like having to go above and beyond and do anything crazy to kind of fill this void of content or anything to that extent.
I tell people like my channels are just up and coming. Like on TikTok, I have 8,000, and then on my main channel, Fearsman26, I'm about to hit 3,000, and then on my vlog channel, I'm about to hit 2,000. So a bunch. Whenever I go to my Comic Cons, I tell people the best advice I can give you is content, content, content. Don't take anyone else's content. Be
Yeah,
you. Be you. Like nobody wants to see a double version of that guy. Be you. And
yeah,
then I always tell my audience, there's never enough footage. Like
yeah.
I film a ridiculous amount and then I pick the best bits to
Gotcha.
edit my vlogs, edit my content. The other stuff I just put like literally on this hard drive just in case I need it, and I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting concept. I think I'm kind of the opposite of that, where um, I'm not going to film everything and anything because I just like to be able to do things and not have to worry about changing a camera or this, that, or the other. So for me, I even know on like TikTok these days, everyone's like, you need to be posting 4 or 5 videos, blah, blah, all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, that's not necessarily the case. It's real easy
Yeah.
to pump a lot of stuff out, but if it's not engaging or entertaining, people are going to scroll on by. And like TikTok has evolved over the years as far as when I was first on it, kind of like an early adopter, I guess you could
Mm,
say. Um, it was very easy to create a video, post it, and there was, quite a bit of engagement. And now that it's kind of
yeah.
morphed into this online store sort of promotional sort of thing, kind of
Mm,
like Amazon Video is what I'd like to call it. It's changed. So for me, it's like I would rather just make one good video once
yeah.
a week and go with that than having to film everything and anything. I enjoy filming, but I don't
The,
I I don't let it kind of that's my path. Like, what am I gonna do today? Oh, I
yeah.
gotta do this, this, and this.
The thing what I meant by that is like I go to a bunch of conventions, so like
Yeah.
the convention's only in a weekend. So I'm like,
Uh,
I'll get as much footage as I can. But like you said, I would rather want quality over quantity.
for
So
sure.
I'll be like, all right, I just filmed 100 videos on my GoPro, but I only like these 30 videos, and I'm gonna make a 10-minute video and like do like a
Yeah.
highlight video of the
Right on.
best bits. And I'd be like, I'd rather have 1 or 2 videos of that con or that adventure
Yeah.
than, hey guys, I'm gonna do 15 videos over the next week.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, that makes total sense, and I think you're in that environment. It makes sense to capture because that is your environment, your world. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally agree with it. It's just kind of the nature of the game. I find
Yeah.
like YouTube and TikTok and any of the social media platforms, there's different facets of what's entertainment, what's education and information. So I try to find those right kind of zones to show the things that I can do and what I do in the right medium. So yeah, that's just kind of my approach, my mentality.
My next question on your website, it says, passionate adventurer. And I thought, oh, that's a great time to tell like some stories. So if you
Yeah.
had to pick like three of your most recent favorite stories, like what would they be?
Yeah, well, I think most recently, my wife and I, we headed down to South America, and we went and lived.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, we were down in Guyana, and we were living with a local tribe in a place called Toca Village, and we went down there to basically reintroduce the people of that village how to make stone tools. It's the same stuff I do on TikTok and social
Yeah,
media. The tourist board, the government reached out and said, we'd like you to come and reteach.
that's so cool.
Yeah, so we went down there, lived in the village, and we tramped all around the mountains, and we found some great source stones, and basically like the indigenous folks there were kind of losing their traditional skills. So
Yeah,
they knew what they were, but they didn't know how to make them, and that's where I was able to come in, and we went
kind of
down there.
kind of get back to basics.
Yeah, exactly. So we're in this village and like eating, lava, these giant rodents and piranha and drinking river water and sleeping in these little like huts, and it was just it was a pretty amazing time. I do like the jungles. I like South America. It's it's
I
pretty
I
awesome.
would I would kill to do something like that. Like I've done a lot of traveling, but I've never been that far. Like the farthest I've been, my dad's from Missouri and my mom's from England, so I've been to
Yeah.
England.
Cool.
Like I've been to England like 25 times in my life, and I've been to not every single state, but a lot of them. I'd say
Yeah.
40. I've been to about 40 states.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Yeah, I
So
mean, I think that's kind of what like we hold adventure and those experiences as the biggest value, I mean, we don't have a lot of stuff like we just got a microwave for the first time in years, maybe like 3 weeks ago. Never had a
nice,
microwave. Never
nice.
had a toaster until like last year. We kind of keep it simple because we like to go on those trips. We like to go on those adventures. But I think if I was going to add another story to that, I guess it would have been last fall. Her and I, we were out in these cave systems in right on the border of Utah and Colorado, and we were just living in these caves and finding
That's
like
awesome.
ancient artifacts and all these different kind of cool sites. We keep them where they're at, but just like it's hard to find a woman that you can be like, hey, let's go sleep in this cave for the next couple of days and
Yeah,
just live off of it.
she
So
sounds like a keeper, man.
yeah, she definitely is. We have a good time, and I think the third one would probably be when I went to Africa, November of last year or the year before,
And I
and I
saw
went.
your videos where the guy was like, "Hey, Donnie, can you make a trap?" And you're like, "Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So those were like a TikTok thing where it was kind of I went there and lived with the Maasai people
yeah."
and among them, and then took advantage of that environment to kind of meet with some of the locals, and it was just a great experience. I enjoy travel. I enjoy learning from other people, where I get to kind of become the student every once in a while.
I'd say my three top
Yeah.
adventures is moving to Florida.
Okay.
Here, like I love living down here. The people and the weather are fantastic. And then anytime I went to England with my family, like my mom, since she's from England, she showed me so many like ruined castles, and they
Cool.
were epic. I was like,
Cool.
wow, these things are from the 16th century. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then because I'm into movies, like whenever my mom and dad took me to Hollywood and I got to see the Hollywood sign, I'd say those are three big adventures
That's
that
awesome.
that I wouldn't mind doing again, and that really like come to light in my mind right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what would be what's one place you want to go? Like, what's your the
Um,
next thing?
I've got two. I haven't been to England in a while to go visit
Okay,
my family, so I'd want to go back there, and
cool.
I would also want to go um to Hawaii.
Cool.
Because before my dad died, he always said, "Oh, we should take the family. We should," and we never got a chance to do it. So I
Wow.
told my mom, "Hey, You, me, my brother, and my brother just had a son, so now I'm an uncle. And
Cool.
I'm gonna go
Congrats.
visit my I'm gonna go visit my mom in a couple of weeks. Thank you, by the way. And I get to meet the little guy for the first time, and
Awesome.
I'll probably get him in a vlog too, because my brother's already been my brother's already been filming him like crazy, and he's been posting videos on his Facebook. But I told my mom after my dad died, I said we should do that trip for Dad.
Yeah.
I said Dad always wanted to go to Hawaii, and we just never got a chance. He was either always working or hey, something came up. Let's go vacation here, and
Yeah.
we never got around to it. So yeah.
No worries.
I
Well,
just want to say hello to Mr. Lantern, my good fan in the chat. Good to see you, buddy.
no-
Next, I want to talk about on your website. I
yeah.
haven't bought one yet, but I love your shirts.
Oh, right on.
You got the vintage one, then you got the obsidian blade like right in the middle. So I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy the green one.
There you go.
Yeah. So have you got all three of them?
Yeah, I've got all sorts of like shirts and stuff on there, but it's just like something different, you know what I mean? I always
Yeah.
kind of think it's just a fun shirt to wear, like
When I was doing my research, I was like, I love them all, but the green one's my favorite
right
with the three blades on it. And it says
cool.
vintage, and I was like, well, I like vintage stuff. I'm like, that one's mine. So probably after when I come back from my trip with my mom, I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy that one. And if you
Ah,
guys want to
appreciate
check
it.
all this stuff out, it's at DonnyDust.com. And
Yes.
you got your book on there, and then you've broken down your website with stone tools, flint knapping, Donnie's books, miscellaneous courses, and weaponry. I just want to go through each one of them real quick.
Yeah.
In your courses, what type of courses do you provide the public?
Yeah, so typically the courses that I provide are based off of what I would call a calendar course, where it's open to the public, whether it's
Okay.
a bison butchering or a flint knapping class, and
Mhm.
that's just where I'll post those courses. But most of the stuff that I teach is all private and it's all custom built. So,
Got it.
you know, like I'm taking off to Montana here in the next 2 weeks to go teach a group out there. So everything is very it's one-on-one. I don't like to do 30 or 40 people at one time because you lose that intimacy, and skills
Yeah.
can be a little bit hard. So I bring it down to a much smaller level, whether it's like a couple CEOs of a company or an executive board over here or whoever, whatever. I just like to deliver that those courses in a kind of
So would it
controlled
be like
area.
how many max people? Like maybe
Just
five total?
um yeah, typically if I do like a small group, 5 to 6 is that total.
Yeah.
That would kind of be a custom, but I also run a lot of one-on-ones where myself and another guy will or gal will head into the bush, and we will go live for 10 days, and I will show them all the necessary skills to survive and thrive out there.
Nice. I want to say hi to Pixel. Pixel says, I want an obsidian blade. Well, Pixel, Donnie made me this one.
That's
And
all right.
I want to say thank you so much. This was
Ah,
fantastic.
my
And
pleasure, man.
it was worth the wait. Like I remember you sent me, you're like, John, I've been so busy. Like, thanks for your patience. I'm like, as long as I get it, I'm like, because I was dying to make that video. I was like, hey,
Right
Fierce,
on.
can you show the obsidian blade that Donnie made? I'm like, I can do that. Yeah. And I went like that. And you said you
Awesome.
loved the video, and you said it took about an hour and a half.
Yeah, about an hour and a half, as far as napping it and wrapping it, the whole kind of collective. But if you wanted to go on the grand scheme, I mean, the wrapping that's on there is
Yeah.
some bark tan deer hide. So
Yeah.
that's like a couple years old. But if you count it into the hours put into scouting for that hunt, the
Yeah.
actual hunt, the butchering, I mean, it could be over, 20, 30 hours long of time directly devoted to not only the stone but also the leather and the wraps that are on there as well.
Because
So
I have two podcasts. I have my goofy one on Fierce
yeah,
Vlogs, and I showed Pixel, and he was like, "What is it?" I said, "This is obsidian." I said, "Donnie is my good friend." I said, "This is like from deer."
yeah.
And I wanted to ask, where did you actually find the blade? Did you find the blade? Did you find the stone in the bush? Did you already have it like in your workshop?
Yeah, so a lot of the obsidian stuff comes from different people that I trade stone with.
Yeah.
So there's some people out in like Utah and Oregon that have access to it. We'll go and collect it in Arizona as well as Utah. So there's so much stone that I collect and trade out with that I believe that piece actually came from Utah the last time,
Oh,
mid-year
that's
I went
awesome,
there.
man. That's
So
awesome. I cannot
yeah,
wait to tell my fans. I'm gonna do another. I'm gonna do another podcast either tonight or tomorrow on my Goofy podcast and tell them
cool.
this is all the way from Utah, you know. So, and
That's
Pixel,
how
I
it
completely
works.
agree. Pixel says always cool to get stuff made by hand. It's an art, absolutely. But
Appreciate it, Pixel.
I wouldn't want to buy this. I'd be like, hey, I'd rather that person make it. So
For sure.
when you mail it to me, I did an unboxing on my Fears vlogs, and people were like loving it. So
Oh,
I just
cool,
want to
man.
say thanks you.
My
So
pleasure.
we went with the courses. Let's go to weaponry. Like
Yeah.
I clicked on it, and you've got bows available. Do you plan on making just bows, or are you gonna make more weaponry in the future?
Yeah, so if it's ever, weaponry, basically atlatls, rabbit sticks, bows, things to that extent, I just put them on there for people to sell. Most of them, they go kind of relatively quick, and I try to make them reasonably priced, because it takes a while to practice with something like an atlatl and get proficient. So I make them as durable and as long standing as possible, and
And
that's
you're
just
not kidding, like guys. When I saw this in the video, I tried to buy it off the website because you put it right up, and
yeah,
I messaged you the same day, and you're like, "Oh, it's already gone." I was like, "Oh."
yeah,
So
it's
yeah, they
things
go
go
quick.
quick.
So miscellaneous would be like, I know you've made some of that stuff in your videos, but you got like antler pieces and like flints and like water bottles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
It's like
add any? Are you gonna add any more miscellaneous things to the website?
Yeah, I mean, I'll add as I come across things, whether it's various bones or antlers and stuff.
Uh,
It's kind of like a little bit of a surplus for people that are looking to. Hey, I need a bunch of knife handles. I might have that supply of antler pieces that would suffice as knife handles. So it's just random gourds and whatnot, really.
mhm.
Salt, like mineral salts,
Yeah.
which is great for drying fish and just bring it with you in the bush.
When I was looking on your website, I thought the two coolest things was the stone tools and the flint napping. I think I'm gonna buy a flip napping like kit
Right
and
on.
try, because I told my fans that I would love to just give it a go. I'm like, because nobody taught you. You just went to
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, the only way is to get in there, get your hands dirty, and just do it.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, and that's really what those kits are designed for, is just to give people a taste, an affordable taste, and have them, give them access to some pretty reliable stone. That's kind of the key thing. A lot of people, they struggle at finding the stone locations and, doing all that. So they go to like glass, which there's nothing wrong with that. But this is an
Yeah,
opportunity to just dive right in and just see how you like it, see how it feels, and say, all right, I'm going to keep going, or maybe this isn't for me.
I actually liked that video when I think Finn was in this one. You and Finn were in the bush, and you were grabbing glass.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
were making arrowheads, and you're like, this is like Budweiser obsidian,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Coors Lighticus and
yeah,
like
I was like, that's
Heineken. Yeah.
genius. I was like, that's genius, because like you said, anything's an option, and I'm just
Exactly.
like, well, that's a perfect way to like, all right, if you don't have any stones available, bam, right there, just make it out of glass.
That's it. I mean, there's glass everywhere, so it's a great option. Which
And
is it's essentially obsidian. It's
yeah,
really the same components of it, so it works out.
yeah, and so then obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. Stone tools. It's everything that you make on TikTok and YouTube. You just sell on there.
Yeah,
And
that's where they go. They go on there, and then there's also other things that I don't always make on TikTok or YouTube that I also supply on there as well. A lot of knives.
whenever I get some more money, I think I'm gonna buy, if it's still there after I come back. I want to buy the I believe you made this one on TikTok. I'm gonna click on it. I forgot the name. The Outlander one.
Okay. Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
looked cool because that one kind of looks like this. So
Yeah.
I was
There's some good ones.
and I was like, ooh, either that one or I love the stone flakes,
Right on.
because I was
Yeah.
like, well,
Razor
stone.
blades.
I was like, I'll get the stone flakes because you could use the stone flakes when I try flint napping.
That's it. That's
And
essentially.
I live right by a lake, and there's a picnic table. So I was like, I told my fans that would be perfect. Set up my laptop, hit live, and then just go to napping and have the
That's
lake in
it.
the background. And I was like, that'd be perfect. So I do plan on doing that at some point.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, give it a go. And I mean, it's just everything on there is to include the books or miscellaneous or whatever. It's just to present people with some options. If they want to experience processing a deer with a stone knife, great. If they want to practice flint napping with a
Yeah.
couple small flakes, perfect. I'm trying to be that solution to wasting tons of money on things and be like, God, why did I do this? But here's an antler tine and some flakes. Give it a shot. Let me know. That sort
And
of thing.
then that was a great segue into your book. Let's talk about your new book, Wild Wisdom.
Yeah.
I wanted to read the whole thing, but I've been so busy. I read a couple chapters
Awesome.
last week, and then I'd made some notes, and I wanted to talk about some of my favorite chapters. So I put that on my cheat sheet. Um, so in your video, the one that you made this for me, you say I made the book to answer everyone's questions.
Yeah.
Um, um, when did you start getting a lot of questions, and when did you actually write the book? Like sit down and write it?
Yeah, so I typically write over winters here in Colorado when it's super cold and we got a lot of snow.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing it in the winter of 2023. It came
Okay.
out last year. And so the one thing that a lot of people don't know is like I'm always writing. I really consider myself a writer more than anything. I mean, I've got 3 or 4 books that are in rough draft form sitting on my computer, but I
Nice.
started writing this in the winters, and it was kind of my first survival book to provide to the masses. And
Mm-hmm.
it's it's created in a way where everything that's in that book I have actually done. There's nothing like, well, I heard from this guy, or I believe this to be a great thing to do in this situation. Like everything in there is something that I've done. So it comes from an aspect of ground truth. And so yeah, I just wanted to write it and kind of go that route. My first 2 books were self-published.
Yeah.
And that's just I kind of wanted a little bit more control and write those books out and get them out to the masses. I like to write, and that's kind of my one of my leisure times. And as of right now, like I have a 3-book series that I'm working on that's fiction, kind of set in like the Stone Age. I think I enjoy it. I think it's pretty good. I'll send you an advanced copy when it comes out. And
Oh, thank you so much, man.
yeah, you give me your feedback.
Yeah, because the chapters I have read on the book, loved them,
Thank you.
loved them so far. And when I go to visit my mom, I'm gonna bring it with me because I like to read like at night, and I like to read whenever I'm traveling on the plane because it's so boring on a plane. So
No
I'll
doubt.
I'll knock out 6 or 7 chapters on that plane ride. The next thing is, so would you say all of them are pretty popular, or is one book more popular than the others?
I'd say they're pretty even. I mean, Scavenger was kind of the first one that I did, so that was a lot of people picked it up, and I think over time they're all 3 of them are very different, but Earth Roamer was kind of a philosophy into my outdoors, and Wild Wisdom was like these are the hard skills with a little bit of backstory about Donnie. So there's an equitable amount of popularity amongst the 3 because they kind of answer 3 different questions, if you will, or
And and with Wild Wisdom, I guess was most of those questions from TikTok and YouTube, and then you just formed it into the book.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was a lot of, how do you make a fire? How do you do this? How do you do that?
Hmm.
And, I'm a firm believer that the written word in any book will outlast anything on social media. I mean,
Yes,
one day everything will go away, but we'll still have books. So I kind of wanted to have that hardcore piece of like knowledge written in book form for the world to enjoy. And I think as I was getting questions and different things in TikTok, it was like you should articulate this in the written word and make sure that it also exists in this sort of format as well as that social media format.
I also like to write. Like I've been writing a novel. I call it The Lonely Ghost because I had
Cool.
a crazy dream, and it literally was like probably it was a couple of years ago. It probably happened because it was around Halloween time, and I love horror
Okay.
movies.
Yeah.
And I had this crazy dream where I couldn't leave the graveyard. And I told my brother about this story, and he was like, "You should write it, man." I said, "It's gonna take me a while, but I'm like, someday I'd like to publish it." And basically, I thought I was visiting like a family member, but really I was the ghost.
Ah,
And
I
the
see.
reason why I couldn't leave the graveyard is ghosts have unfinished business, and
For sure.
you can't pass on until you find out your unfinished business. And
Yeah.
I was like, that would make a great story. And I've been writing it off and on for about 3 or 4 years. So I like to, I'd say editing videos and writing are like my 2 favorite like art type of passions.
Yeah. I think that's great. I tell everyone, even if you just write, a story or lessons that you share with your immediate family, that's
Hmm.
awesome. You don't have to publish it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just put words to paper because then it will live forever. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. So good
I
for
just
you
thought
for
it
writing,
was
man.
I thought it was just so cool, and it was a wacky dream, and I was like, man, I've got to write this down. And I told my fans, they thought it was cool, you know. So let's get
I
into the book. I've selected a couple of chapters that were my
Yeah.
favorite. I selected chapter 2, chapter 6, chapter 7, 8, and 9. So number 2, it says, have the heart to make changes. What changes do we need to make as a person and as a society?
Yeah, I really think the changes start with the person first. And just like this tattoo I have on my finger, it's my 4 marks. And that goes into your mental, your physical, your emotional, and your primal well-being, and
Yeah,
making sure that those are aligned. And I think a lot of people can acknowledge their own faults and the things that they need to change, but seldom do they take the necessary action. So I think when people start to focus on themselves and they take those necessary actions to make change, it will impact the larger scale, the family that's around them, the community that's around that family, and it just has this radiating effect. So, yeah, if something is like one of the hardest things is to know yourself and then seek self improvement. And I think when people can do that, that's when real change and real kind of growth within that person takes place.
I definitely have been trying to make those changes. Like when I was young, I thought I knew everything. And for some reason, probably out of frustration, I was not always angry, but I was angry a lot, you know? So
Yeah,
I had low patience. So I've been trying to work on like patience and temper. And I've been looking for a better job because I work at FedEx. I work in their FedEx factory
right on.
to make money. And then I'm like, I don't want to lift boxes my whole life, you know? So I'm
Sure.
always looking for a better job. And then I make my content on the side. And unfortunately, when my dad passed away, I didn't know how to handle it. So I just started eating my feelings because I used to be super skinny, like kind of well developed. And I was like, now I'm like, so I've been getting back into the gym.
Good.
I've been trying to go at least 3 days a week, and then I'm going to try to build up to at least 4 or 5. And
That's it.
I tell my audience, I'm like, whether my apartment complex, it's great. It's like very big, so I either go walking a lot or I'm in the gym. It doesn't matter what type of exercise you get, as long as you get some exercise.
Exactly.
So
Movement. Move, move, move. That's all you got to do.
yeah. So
That's
I
key.
I really liked that book. I really liked that chapter in the book. Like, absolutely, you have to change in the heart and in the mind, and it keeps you level on the right path.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to make those changes. And
Good,
so,
man.
chapter 6, it says shelter, and you actually made some in those 28-day weeks one. Those are like some of my recent favorite videos.
Right on,
Those
man.
were fantastic, and I want to get in. So, if you could tell the audience
Yeah.
and me, uh, what's your favorite type of shelter to make, and then can you give me some background on different types of shelters?
For sure. So I think my favorite shelter, I just call it the Sasquatch sleeping bag.
Mhm.
And it is basically a whole pile of leaves and grass and just soft materials. You, mound up in this big pile and then you just crawl in and go to sleep. It's like a big nest, I guess you could
Yeah,
say. And why I like that is it doesn't require axes or knives or anything like that. It's just mass and material. And you'd be surprised how warm that will keep you throughout the night. Especially if you have like a patoo or just a little sheet to wrap yourself up in, you'll stay warm as anything. More importantly, it's pretty waterproof. So it's a very easy thing to make given the right materials. And I think when it comes to shelter building in the grand scheme, the best shelter is the one that you build. There's a lot of philosophy in this environment and these temperatures. You should do this, and
yeah,
that's kind of a bad way of looking at it. There's so many variables that we don't consider, but the best shelter is the one that you make. So if you are hot, you build something that's more shade. If you are cold, where's the cold coming from? Is it snow? Is it wind? Is it rain? You build something to protect yourself. So it's,
yeah,
again, going to those creative principles and saying, how can I make my situation, my current situation, a little bit better? That is building a shelter. That's going to make it better. It's hot. I need to build some shade. That's going to make it better. So again, it's that creative process, but I don't want to say that there's one best type of shelter. I like to go with the simplest is probably the best,
yeah,
especially if I'm moving through an area and I'm just staying for one night. I'm not going to build something elaborate. There's no need. Will I stay dry? Will I stay warm? Yes. cool, that's what I'm going to do. Sasquatch sleeping bag. And away I go the following
And
morning.
you even say that in the video. You're like, you don't want to overexert yourself. You just want to make
Bingo.
something. You want to make something quick, easy, and then you climb in with Finn, and you're like, all right. Then when it's time to move,
We go.
you're out of there. You know.
Yeah, and that was the same thing in like in the 28 years later when I was working with them doing some of their promotional stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that was
it was
fantastic.
oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was just building a shelter that I could escape from in case the infected came, but also kind of kept me high and dry for one night. Nothing
Yeah,
too elaborate, and I think um,
because you
people
just,
kind of
I was telling my audience, you just made those like literally within a couple of weeks, and you did what's in your backpack,
yeah.
what do you carry, how would you survive from the infected, like how would you defend yourself, and then the shelter. And I was like, I'm adding that into my cheat sheet with my questions because
Right
those are
on.
like three of my new favorite videos.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Those were
Yeah,
good.
it was pretty cool to work like with them and having met, Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy that's kind of like the main character in it when I
Yeah,
was doing the stone tools for the movie Craven. It was just kind of cool to like, you've done it once with him and you're doing it again with him. So
yeah.
um it's just kind of a fun thing. I enjoy doing those sort of things because I think people they'll go and watch the movie and they'll be like, oh, we also saw what Donnie did, and like we would definitely
Yeah.
go on Donnie's side, or maybe he should have done this. I don't ever have a problem with critique or anything like that. It's fun to like put yourself in the mindset. When I was up in the mountains and I was building, I was like, all right, you got to really think that there's infected around here. You don't want to like,
Yeah.
be false with it because then it's like, what if it ever did happen? Would somebody rely on these videos? So you need to make it as accurate as possible. So
Especially in the woods, because like, well, the infected could be anywhere and everywhere. So you got to be like on your toes and be like, I need to make a shelter with a quick getaway, like
yeah,
a quick exit. Like you said, you don't want to overexert yourself, and then you have to be on your toes. Be like, all right, I need to make
bingo.
an entrance enough for me and Finn to get in, but not a big enough entrance where the infected could like crawl in.
Exactly. And like some of the things like I'll film a video like that and then I will cut it down to like 2 minutes when there's so much more I wanted to add. Like I
Yeah,
was next to a waterfall, maybe like 75 yards away, and that gave it just enough ambient noise that if I was making a lot of noise, that waterfall was muffling it. So it wasn't,
yeah,
it's those sort of things that like when I do have to do it, I put myself like, all right, there are the infected, there are zombies out there.
hmm.
Let's get in that zone. And that's where it's kind of like you kind of get to live within the movie during that time that you're filming it.
Now I saw Craven. I thought that was good, but I've yet to see 28 weeks. I mean, 28 years later.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
Yeah. We saw like an advanced bit of it and then we saw it in the theater. Like my wife and I, we go to the movies quite a bit and that's, we have like these movie passes and
Yeah,
but we enjoy going to the movies. It's kind of like I've always told people like even if I don't want to see it, can I just sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours and be entertained? It's where everything else goes away. And I think for the 28 years later one, it was cool to like see the how I kind of fit into it. And more importantly, like seeing it in the theater and then purchasing it at home and having already
yeah,
watched it at home, you're like, oh, this I enjoy it. I think you will enjoy it. And the next one's going to be coming out, I think next year, done by Danny Boyle again
yeah, yeah.
and there's going to be Cillian Murphy. He's going to be in it as well. So there's going to be some really cool things going on with it. And
I try to get to the theater as much as possible. The last one I saw, I'm a big Superman fan, so that was the last one I saw. But I tell my fans, I love physical media. All of these are the ones I haven't even got to yet that I bought. All the ones on the shelf are the movies that I've watched. So
I got you.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I try to jump like I'll watch 4 or 5 in a row and then I'll review them on my silly podcast. Be like,
yeah,
this was good, this was bad, this one was okay. Don't even waste your time on this one. So yeah,
yeah. No, I think it's man. I'm a big movie guy. For as much as I love the outdoors and being
yeah,
in like, I do love going to like the Alamo Draft House, which is our movie theater where you can have like a cold beer and
oh
like
yeah,
just some food and sit back and
oh yeah.
relax. I mean, we saw Superman there. We saw the one with the kids. What was it? Weapons.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
It's
Uh,
pretty good. It's
my
pretty
friend,
good.
my YouTube friend Visions, he's got like the same type of passes. He goes at least once a week. His friend Boo, they also go too. and I'm like, I work so much and I edit so much. I'll
Yeah,
maybe see like one movie a month in the theater, and then I watch all of these at home. So.
I got you. Yeah.
And
No,
since
it's
we're on the movie topic, and we were talking
yeah.
about zombies, give me your. I'll let you go first, and then I'll go. Give me
All right.
give me your three favorite zombie films of all time.
Oh gosh. All right. So I do like Shaun of the Dead because it's like a
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
comedic zombie-esque sort of thing. I do like World War Z because it's like a global zombie outbreak that you get to witness.
oh
Most
yeah.
of most of the times you kind of hear about it and it's like just taking place in this town or this state, and you get like a little bit of a news blurb about it happening overseas. But we got to travel the world and see that kind of outbreak. And then I would say I kind of like, just because it's also goofy, is the Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
I just watched it a couple months ago, and it was fantastic. It was
I chuckle every time I watch it. It's just funny. It's like a goofy, funny zombie movie, but it's like, again, I was entertained for the 90 minutes that it was going.
And the funny thing is, when I watched it, I was like, everything that those scouts do before the zombie. I was like, I did that as a kid. I'm like, so they got all the Boy Scout stuff right
Yeah.
until shit hits the fan, and like zombies are everywhere, and then they're just like, all right, well, let's do this and let's see what happens.
Yeah. No, that's
So
what are your three? What's yours?
I'd say my top three are the first one is Return of Living Dead.
Okay. Classic.
Have you ever seen that? Okay,
Yeah.
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 So that one's my fave. My second, I got to agree with you. I love Shaun of the Dead because my
Yeah.
mom's from England. I love Shaun of the Dead. And then the third
Perfect.
one, the original Night of Living Dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but like it's been a while since I had seen it, so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh god. I mean, it is kind of like one of the first, one of the classics.
Yeah,
So I think that kind of set like a precedent, like on the whole genre where they can go with it. But
yeah,
I think I like Shaun of the Dead because I think there was a couple scenes that were actually filmed in like a single shot when he
oh yeah,
goes to the store to get his Coke. Like
yeah.
he'd done that in like one shot and then did it in a second shot where there was zombies and stuff. And I'm like, that's the sort of stuff I like in movies where it's just not all like digital CGI. It's
Yeah,
like there's some real actors in there doing what their craft is, and that's where I just appreciate that sort of.
I appreciate CGI, but I think they've blown
Yeah,
it out. I think they've blown it out way up. Like, I'll give you an example. When CGI it worked fantastic, the Liquid Terminator from T2. That's
that was
fantastic.
that
That's
was amazing. Yeah,
fantastic.
I loved it.
So, but I also like practical effects, like with puppets and like
Sure.
all the animatronics. I think some of those from the 80s and 90s were even better. If they overuse it, then I'm just like, nah,
Yeah.
that's too much.
Yeah, well,
And like,
let me get your theory on something. I
okay,
I I believe in the next 10 years when it comes to filmmaking and even like short films, there's going to be a genre of film that is like CGI, no AI. It's going to be like CGI free. You know what I mean? It's just going to
yeah,
be like things were shot in the 80s where there are animatronics and puppets and
yeah.
small scale like in Star Wars. Do you think that is going to be like a category that people are going to seek out in the future when it comes to movies?
100%,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree.
Because when you look, I like Jurassic Park. I'll give it a perfect example.
Yeah,
They blend it so good. You see the digital dinosaurs, and then when they're on actually in Hawaii, and then they recreated the set of Hawaii on the soundstage, and you see that 100-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex as an animatronic.
yeah,
That thing is scary, man. And I
sure.
watched all the behind the scenes, and the two kids are in the car. They said when that piece of glass came down, like here's the car, and then he goes down in.
Yeah,
He said that's me and that little boy holding the glass up, and we're
wow.
terrified. She goes, "We're not acting. I'm scared shitless."
See, I like that. Yeah, I agree. Like, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, even like certain aspects of the whole like Terminator series is there's those right times to put in CGI or those animatronics where it's not so overdone, where it's the whole movie. Like you
Yeah.
sometimes you see behind the scenes and you see these people in nothing but green screens or blue screens, and I'm like, I mean, my hat goes off to them for being able to act in an environment that doesn't exist. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a green screen, but like I'm just like, wow, it's there's going to be a kind of a shift, I believe, in the future where it's that kind of grassroots.
100%. 100%. I 1000% agree with you because like I said, uh, digital technology, AI, it's a tool. If you use the tool correctly and appropriately and just enough, then it's okay. If you overuse it, I'm like, well, there's no actual human beings, there's no sets, there's no props that I love. It's
Yeah.
just AI, and I'm like, well, then what am I watching? It's just all fake, you know?
Yeah. No, you're right. I think the Lord of the Rings, the whole franchise was that perfect balance of CGI as well as being on set, running through
Yeah,
the hills. Like that for me is like that's like a full kind of good balance of between them both, but it was also something where it just wasn't green screen. I know there was times when it was like,
yeah.
the desolation of smog and all the gold and stuff. That makes sense. But there's nothing wrong with having, Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli running through the hills trying to find, the hobbits and stuff. I think that's what I
Mhm.
like.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get back to the chapters of the book,
Yeah.
since we're talking about zombie, I there's a list of questions that I labeled Zombie Land because
All
in
right.
in those videos you
Yeah.
said, "Oh God, I hope it happens." So
Yes.
my first zombie question: if it happens, I totally believe what you said. The four things are food, shelter, water, and then a weapon.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people would think, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Costco and just like hide out in there." There's good and bad points. The good point would be, all right, all the supplies I need, a lot is in there,
True.
But
Very.
if you go in there, everyone's going to be like running towards there, and it'll be overcrowded in there. So if it happened, my first like zombie question is where how would you protect your family? Where would you go? What would you do? It happened tomorrow.
Yeah. So I think just given those parameters, not knowing if this is like a fast zombie or a slow zombie, a
Yeah,
World War Z or a Walking Dead, let's just say it's a zombie. I'm going to go where there are no people because that is where ultimately the threat lies. And I think the first zombie you would experience would actually be the human being.
oh
They're
yeah,
mindless, they're going after those resources. That's where the problems will be. So for me, I'm going to load up with all of the supplies that I have, and I will drive into the mountains to many of the locations that I know where I could fortify it, protect it, welcome in those that want to be part of that new little cohort of people. But
yeah.
I would leave. And, uh, with my background between the hunting and the foraging and all that sort of stuff, I would remain in the mountains until the world kind of slowly came back to its senses and then try to
I
restart.
guess another one would be food, shelter, water, weapon, and then a good vehicle. Because you'd want to get
Yeah.
out. So that
Tran
would be
trans
that would be my five.
Yeah, transportation would be key, because you have to leave. So you can go on foot, you can go on bike, you can go in a vehicle, but gas will run out, you will tire out. So your spot has to be smart enough where it's not a 5 day drive. Because during those 5 days, you're going to encounter
Yeah,
any number of threats. So it has to make sense. The best thing to do is already kind of have yourself in that right location.
and since you have that background of like survivalists, like you probably already have a lot of the supplies you need. Me, that I don't have that background. I'd be like, I have to find a store, go there quick, get all the supplies I need, and then get the hell out of there. And
That's
I would
it.
I would be alone too. The only time I would go into town would be get my supplies, get in my car, and then I would just leave.
Mhm.
I would probably travel back to Missouri and
Smart.
get my family. Like, we got to find a safe, contained spot.
That's it.
So
I
yeah,
mean, I do. I have. I mean, from the things that we hunt, whether it's Missy or myself or just whatever, we have a lot of surplus of supplies that if it was
yeah.
to go down, we would go. I mean, I have multiple dogs. I mean, I don't want to say that those are food, but if it came down to it, I would rather eat one of my dogs, not Finn though. Finn would be the last
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, you can't. Like, I love Finn. Don't eat Finn. Finn
No, but
Finn is great in your videos.
oh
That guy's a trooper, man.
yeah,
Actually, Finn, I got a bunch of questions for Finn here in a little bit.
no problem.
I made him a part of the interview. So the
Cool.
next zombie question, a lot of people think like gun would be the best zombie weapon. I don't think so because eventually you're gonna run out of bullets. I want your take on the best weapon in a zombie apocalypse. I would say any type of blade. That's my pick.
Yeah, I think a blade is a great close defense sort of weapon, you know. And you really have to kind of gauge it on the type of zombie, but there's no reason to reach out and shoot a zombie at distance, only if that sound is going to draw in more
Because that
people.
makes a lot of sound, you know.
Exactly.
Like guns, you could probably snipe a whole bunch of them, but it's going to attract more because of the sound. A blade, you just jab them in the neck, jab them in the head, and then you're off, and it's quiet.
Exactly. So I think, for that close kind of protection, some sort of blade would be the best. An axe, like a good tomahawk or something like
Yeah,
that, because it's more rugged. You could smash windows with it. You could smash the faces with it. You could also chop. But a firearm would be a good thing to have in the event that there was a large number of them. You could
yeah.
start to
Like
negotiate it at distance.
that's a good way to put it. Like if it was just like two zombies, use like a knife
Yeah.
or a machete or like an axe. But if there was like 10 of them, be like, oh man, I need to wipe these guys out and then leave.
Yeah.
Like if they were like in the middle of the road, I'd be like, there's no way I got to get around these guys. Just snap them
Exactly.
all off, get in the car, and then get the hell out of there before like 50 of them show up.
No, yeah, that's really the nail on the head. Just save your ammo. Do it when it's an immediate thing. Go to the blunt force trauma weapons. A bow is probably the best thing. That's kind of that in between close distance.
Yeah.
Where you would have to use a blade and something a little bit far off. But
And your
you know,
bow that you made for the 28 years later, that was a sweet bow. I was
oh,
like,
thanks,
I
man.
was like, dude, I'm like, and I was like, I'll ask him. But in my mind, when I watched him, I said, I guarantee you, Donnie's gonna say a blade and a bow, and I was right. I was like, because you had I forgot what the blade is when you were making the shelter.
Kukri.
It's a curved knife. What was
Yeah,
it?
it's called a kukri.
Yeah,
A kukri, yeah. So that sort of blade is a great defensive weapon, but it's also a chopping weapon. So it's
yeah.
multi-use. And the bow, being that I've made way more bows and arrows, it's easy to do. It's easy to replenish lost arrows and really, being able to use that for hunting as well as defense. It's quiet.
Hmm.
It just makes sense in my mind, as because in that scenario of 28 years later, ammo is probably down. If a zombie outbreak
Yeah,
was to happen, I would say you probably have about 2 or 3 years where you have a good surplus of ammo and
yeah.
those sort of things. But after a while, things would slowly go away, and you would probably use that ammo when somebody else is going to use ammo against you, if you know what I
And
mean.
if you think about it, like, let's say it happened tomorrow. Within that first week, mass chaos is going to ensue,
Oh yeah.
and I'm gonna be like, well, if you don't get that ammo and those weapons in the first week, you'll probably never find it because people will be grabbing anything and everything: water, food, ammos, all guns. It'll be just like Walking Dead. Walking Dead is a perfect example
Yeah, that's a
of
very
how it would probably go that way.
absolutely. I think that's a very fair assessment into complete chaos. Zombies are here. And
You'd have good people like Rick and his group, and then you'd have insane people like Negan
yeah,
that are just like, it's you versus me and the survival of the fittest. And if you're not like me or in my ways, then screw you, or something
yeah.
like that.
No, I think that's fair. Very fair.
Big shout out to my friend Boo. He's here. What's up, dude? And Joey. Good to see you guys.
Howdy,
So,
howdy.
my last zombie question.
Fire
Obviously,
one.
like if it would happen, I mean, you'd
Yeah.
want to stay away from the major cities. And my question would be, what major city do you think would like crash and burn first?
God, probably the entire Western Seaboard, California,
Yeah,
Los Angeles, New York City, Atlanta, all of those, probably Dallas, all those major cities where there's so many people.
yeah,
Those would go real quick. Where you would probably be the safest would be in all the rural communities, the
yeah.
farmland communities where you can see things coming, and more importantly, you have resources on hand.
I'm so glad I'm from Missouri because my mom lives in such a small town down here, like Wentzville. My mom lives in Wentzville, Missouri.
Okay.
It's literally like there's like a couple of grocery stores. There's like a post office and a couple of houses, and that's about it. I would go right to Wentzville or somewhere in Missouri and go
Yeah.
like all right, we've got food, and they're like, or like you live in Colorado, that's perfect. Like there's tons of rural areas there.
Oh yeah,
Up in the mountains, you'd be like, oh, hey, let's get the kids, let's get the wife. Hey, I know a great spot. Let's go to the mountains. You guys would
that's
be
it.
fine.
That's it.
But
And a lot of those places only have one road that leads up to it.
yeah,
So you drop a couple trees across that road, nobody's getting up there.
yeah,
And if somebody is going up there, they're just an automatic threat. And
and
you
like when like I don't have you and your family watched a lot of The Walking Dead? Like now they're branching up. Now that's like Walking Dead in New York, and then there's like Beyond the Walking and Fear the Walking. I've just started to watch the original series. I'm planning
okay,
to watch all of them, but I just bought the original series, and I think it has like 10 seasons, and I got them on Blu-ray, and I just
nice.
started watching season one again, and I'm like, they make a lot of mistakes, but they also make a lot of good like decisions.
Sure.
And when I was watching it and preparing for this interview, because I knew there was going to be a zombie portion, I was like, you would have to be an idiot to go to Los Angeles or like an island, or
Yeah.
like you'd be an idiot to go to like England because of like it's an island, or
Yeah.
like New York because there's so many people. I'd be
Bingo.
like, you're cut off. The zombie would eat you alive.
That's it. I mean, wherever there's people, that's where the problems will be. I mean, that's just, I mean,
Yeah,
you could even say not in like a zombie apocalypse, but look at like any riots or anything like that. Where the people
yeah,
are, that's where the problems are. And
absolutely.
that's resources would be gone, the infection would be spread. And next thing you know, it's just, it's reinforcing the population of zombies, so to speak, as people are becoming more infected.
And it's a scary thing, like the CDC, like in the Walking Dead show.
Yeah,
I don't know if we would ever get like an actual zombie outbreak, but if someone became rabid, that's kind of like a zombie.
for sure.
It's scary to think about that. Like, what if someone was rabid and bit somebody, and then there's a lot of diseases out there. It could happen. So I'm like,
Yeah.
never rule it out. And I'm like, be careful, in life,
That's what I mean. I mean, it's like all the weapons that are behind me, I'm like, all of them become active.
immediately.
Yeah, it's
I
just
would use
I
this.
just
I would use this weapon to the fullest, man.
that's all you need, man. You could leave your house with just that and be able to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the book. So
Sure.
we covered chapter 2. We covered chapter 6, shelter. There's 3 more chapters that I want to quickly cover before we move on. The
Yeah.
next topic is YouTube and TikTok. So chapter 7 is fire. Like when I was in Boy Scouts, we learned to make different types of fire,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know. There's 3 questions about fire I want to ask you. Is what do you think is the best fire to make, and what's your favorite fire to make, and why is fire so important in a survival situation?
Yeah, I think the best fire to make is really the easiest one that you can do. So whether that's using a lighter or using some sort of accelerant like gasoline or something like that with a
Mhm.
lighter. um, I teach primitive fire and friction fires from a survival standpoint. But even if I go camping with my family, like I'm
Yeah,
just going to start a fire with a lighter.
yeah,
That's that sort of thing. So I would say people should train themselves on the modern ways of making fire with an actual flame, and then they should go to a kind of less than technology. So I have no tech, low tech, and high tech. Those are my 3 kind of zones or praxis that I think people should operate in. So in
I've
that
done
high
both.
tech,
I've
what's
done
that?
both. I've done both in Boy Scouts. They literally sent us out into the woods and they said, "All right, you need to open up your Boy Scout book and make these." And my 2 favorite were I love to make log cabin fires, where
There
you
you go.
stack, and then I love teepee fires. Those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, I think as long as like there's a lot of different ways to they call it a fire lay where you lay
Yeah,
the different logs and stuff.
yeah,
As long as you got wood burning and it starts, great. I think a teepee fire is kind of the most logical because flames like to eat up.
yes,
So put your tinder on the bottom, put your small sticks, and then light it up and let it burn. But you never really have a fire until you have wood that's about the size of your wrist burning. Once you have
yeah,
wood burning, then you got that fire. So I would go with a teepee fire. I think I don't have a ferro rod up here, but I think a ferro rod is a great. You can light 1,000 fires with a ferro rod,
yeah,
throw sparks. That is a great means of making fire. And then why it's important is fire is so many different things. Fire at really first, it's a tool. So you can cut wood with it, you can shape wood with it, you can use it as a dryer of clothes, of preserving foods. You can boil water with it. It keeps you warm. It's a signal. It's entertainment. And I always use this analogy when people say, well, fire isn't a priority. Well, let me just throw this at you. Imagine, if you will, you're in the middle of Louisiana and you have the ability to make fire. You make fire, but you have no axe, no knife, no tools to
Hmm.
cut down a tree. How would you cut that tree down? And usually people, they kind of like, well, I don't know, that'd be hard to do. So I was in that situation one time and I used fire to burn trees over. And now how it worked was I took clay and I packed it all along the trunk about a foot high. And then at the base, I burned those trees over to build a shelter. So,
Okay.
so fire's a tool, and it's a tool of, a lot of diversity as far as drying, boiling, cooking, shaping, entertainment. It's a source of heat. It's a source of signal. So
I can't believe someone would think like, oh, that's not important. I'd be like, well, if you're cold in the woods, make a fire, you heat up, like
it's
you said, it's entertainment. Like if you're with your family, sing songs around the campfire.
yeah.
I could think of 20 uses for fire right now.
Bingo. Exactly. I mean, everything that's going on in this room with the lights that are lit and like whether there's heat or anything like that, it stems from a rudimentary form of fire. You know what I mean? Heat, light, safety,
Like if you were in a
security.
cave and you didn't have a fire, you'd be in pitch black. So
Exactly.
light.
Exactly. So I don't think it should be overlooked. It's sometimes not the biggest priority. Like if you're freezing cold, it's probably makes more sense for you to kind of build a shelter or find a way to get out of that cold by, some sort of overhead protection or a wind block and then going to fire, because fire can be very complicated if you're doing it in like a friction form. But if you have like, a ferro rod or even a lighter, people can still run into trouble with it. So it's knowing, what is tinder, what is kindling, and then what is
Yeah.
fuel wood, and how those three work together.
When you said like you did low tech and high tech, I actually did that in Boy Scouts. The low tech, it took us hours. Me and a buddy,
Yeah,
we were split up. It was two. It was like I'd say there was 8 of us, and each person got 2 to a team.
cool.
And I did the classic. We had to rub the sticks together, and that took hours. But
Right on.
friction will cause heat, which will
Yep.
cause a fire. Me and my buddy, it took us forever, but we did start it. That was my very
Nice.
first fire. And then the
Cool.
second one was I did the flint, where you have a flint and it makes a spark.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
those are my 2 like first fires I ever made. And then when
That's awesome.
me and my dad went camping, that was my third one. Do you remember your first fire that you ever made?
Oh gosh, yeah. I was probably 7 or 8.
Okay.
you know,
And do you remember how you made it?
probably with a lighter. I mean, I was a troublemaker as a kid, but
Oh yeah,
I mean,
me too.
absolutely. But I mean, I think as I grew, there's probably a lot of ferro rod, a lot of lighters, and then probably around like 12, 13, doing like bow drills where you're doing this and like
Yeah,
friction fire sets, and
because you've
I
made
mean,
in your videos, you've made a bunch of fires
oh,
different ways.
so many fires. I mean, I can do a hand drill where it's the long spindle and then the hearth board. I mean,
Yeah,
I can do one of those probably in less than a minute. Just but I mean, I've been doing it for so long that
yeah.
it's just what I do. You
I
know.
just want to read something. Bukaki made a funny thing about the Zom. He says, "Fears, you should sell all your Blu-rays for dry foods and ammo." Well, you know what? I would use my Blu-rays as a source of fire. I'd burn all these,
There you go.
to keep my warm. I wouldn't.
There you
I,
go.
I wouldn't care, Bukaki. I'd be like, all these are out. All this crap that I love would be gone. I just want to survive. Like heat, food, water, shelter, and a weapon. That's all I need.
That's it. That's it, man. That's funny.
And so let's go to. I'm gonna combine chapter 8 and 9.
Sure.
Uh, Chapter 9 is food, and chapter 8 is water. So the same thing with fire. Water, it's a great. I would say that's a great tool also. To keep
Yeah.
you boil stuff with it. It keeps you hydrated. You can use it like like you in one of your videos, you clean your clothes in the river. That's another one of my favorite
Yeah.
videos. Um,
Absolutely.
if you could just tell the audience, I mean, what's your like 3 favorite types of food that you've actually hunted and killed and enjoy eating in the bush?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to food, I like wild game. I think if I was to, pick anything, it would absolutely be elk. I mean, I have
Okay.
a huge elk antler behind me of an elk I shot a couple of years ago, but elk meat is great. I absolutely love it. It's delicious.
I've
I
always wanted to try. I've never had gotten a chance.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And people ask, well, what does it taste like? And I'm like, I don't know how to describe it because it just tastes like elk. I mean, my
Hmm.
two boys grew up eating wild game meat, so it's just one of those things. The other thing I like to eat, which a lot of people don't, is something called a marmot, and it's
Okay.
like, you know what a woodchuck is, or the big groundhog.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those, but way up in the mountains, and they call them whistle pigs, and
Okay.
they're absolutely delicious. They're around like 10 to 13,000 feet, just.
I think you made a video about that. Someone says, "Can you cook something?" And you killed a marmot, and then that's a video you did. I remember
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Marmot's delicious. It's just a yummy little creature. Um, and then I think if going off of it, that I was something that I've shot and killed and that I've consumed that was surprising was definitely an electric eel when I was in the Amazon a couple
Oh
years ago.
wow. Okay.
So yeah, I made a bow, homemade arrows, homemade bow, the cordage, everything, and
Wow.
I saw an eel in the water. An electric eel was like maybe like 4 feet long, and I just shot it in the head, and it went crazy. And then I pulled it off, and it was like that big around and just white meat. And you wouldn't think it would be good, but it was pretty dang delicious when you're hungry.
And I would say probably two of the most easiest things in the wild would be fish or deer. Because there's an unlimited supply of those.
Yeah, I mean there's a large number of deer, but deer are very smart and they're quick.
Yeah.
They will sense you right off the bat. And I think if you're in an urban area, you might have a little bit more kind of those deer might be a little bit more accustomed to that environment. But
Yeah.
if you're out in the mountains, I mean they're very savvy. But what you should always do is what you kind of brought up is you should always fish first, fishing first
Yeah.
with the right sort of equipment, whether you're spearing, line and tackle, hand fishing. It's just easier because typically you can see the fish. They're in a stream, they're in a lake, they're in a pond. You know they're there, and it's why I say you should fish first is because it's passive. So you have active and you have passive. Passive is I can throw a line and hook in the water, I can build a fish basket, and I can let it sit and do its thing.
Yeah.
So while I'm out hunting for, let's say, an elk or a deer or whatever, I have something working for me while I'm out doing something else. So you have passive food acquisition and active food acquisition. And when you can do both at the same time, you increase your odds of food. So
So the,
fish,
the food that I've eaten in the wild,
yeah,
I've eaten deer, I've eaten fish,
right on.
wild turkey,
Good.
and rabbit.
Yeah, those are all delicious. Every single one of them.
But I'd say my favorite. I love deer meat. Love it.
Yeah, venison.
My dad really wasn't a hunter, but my uncle was on my dad's side.
Okay.
He would hunt deer all the time, and then he'd be like, "I have so much. We have enough in our fridge." And he'd be like, "Hey, John," because my dad's name is John. He's like, "Do you want
Right
any?"
on.
And I would make deer sandwiches all the time when I was young. I love. I
Yeah.
Deer meat is some of the best, and you can make great jerky out of it.
Oh yeah, venison is it's top notch. Like I shot a big mule deer last year. Missy shot a big elk. I mean, so we have tons of elk and mule deer, and then plus bison. We just have a ton of it. And I think once you get accustomed to eating it, you actually you'll crave it. You'll crave deer meat, venison more
Yeah.
than you will beef. That's just
But
my
before I
personal.
die, I want to try. I want to try some bison, and I want to try elk because I've never
Right on.
gotten the opportunity. And I'm like, just once, I'd like to try because you've said a couple times, you're like, oh, I love in your videos, and and it
Yeah.
looks good. I've seen like the meat in your videos, and I'm like, that does look good.
It's real good. That's probably what I'm gonna eat tonight. I'm gonna get myself the remainder of our elk and eat it up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So let's move on to like we kind of covered it a little bit, but I want to break down the TikTok and YouTube. What
Yeah.
do you think? What do you think? How would you say TikTok is similar? My first question: how would you say TikTok and YouTube are similar, and how are they different?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I think they're very similar as far as you can create a video and post it on both of those platforms, and the audience is there will ultimately watch. It's kind of like short form, long form in different ways,
Yeah,
but um, I do believe that the people that are on YouTube, they're a little bit more specific, a little bit more focused on what they're watching, because I think YouTube is more information and
Yeah.
TikTok is more entertainment. So, but I now that they've both kind of morphed and shifted, where you have YouTube Shorts and you have TikToks that can be long form,
Yeah.
they're kind of the same. Um, but I find that YouTube is I enjoy the YouTube a little bit more because I think it's more informative, and I think that
Yeah.
TikTok is just that entertainment. So there's similarities and there's differences, but they're both unique in their own landscape. But I don't know. There's just something that kind of I lean more towards YouTube. TikTok is great,
Hmm.
but it's I don't know. I think I struggle with sometimes, like, it's very easy for people to, copy content or just use stuff that they've never created and just incorporate it into,
Yeah.
a TikTok and that sort of thing. So, um, I don't know. It's an interesting question. There are some similarities. There are some differences. I think I just lean more towards
And I actually did
the
it reverse. I
YouTube.
started YouTube, and then I don't know if you remember, before TikTok, they had like a crappy version of TikTok called Vine.
Yeah, Vine. I remember Vines.
And Vine, you had to be really creative. You only had, I think, 5 seconds to make a 5 second video, so you had to be
Oh
really
wow.
creative. It was
Wow.
either 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So I
Okay.
started YouTube first. Then my friend told me about TikTok, and I said, "Oh, John, you can get a lot of followers on that." So I did it reverse. But I 1,000% agree. YouTube is more informative.
Yeah.
If you want a certain niche of videos, you can go that route.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's more entertaining than
Yes.
TikTok. So, but TikTok, it's great to make those short videos, like, so you can engage the audience, because on YouTube, what's different is you can make the longest video you want. Like, it doesn't matter. You can go forever if you want. Like, they have no limit.
Yeah.
On TikTok, you can only go up to 10 minutes, I
10 minutes.
believe.
Yeah.
But it didn't start like that. I think when I started like 2 years ago, I think it was 30 seconds, a minute, and then I think a 5 minute. And now they've, like, I think within the last year or two, they've said you can go up to 10 minutes. So
Yeah. When I first was on TikTok in like 2020, it was 15, 30, and then a minute. And a lot of
yeah,
my
something like
videos,
that.
yeah, it was a minute. And then it went to like 3 minutes was the longest, and it just keeps on
Yeah.
jumping up. I think, having been on YouTube first, and a lot of people they say, oh, I have these goals on YouTube, and that's awesome. You should. Like, I started off with one follower just like everybody else has.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you kind of stay consistent and you enjoy it, then you really can't go wrong. And that's where I think TikTok has morphed into I've got to make it, I've got to make stuff again and again and again and again. And then it becomes a requirement. And I will be 100% honest with you. When I first started TikTok, and then those months after, TikTok paid very, very well. And I mean, to the point where I was like, this is unbelievable, the dollars that were coming in return. And some of my earlier videos have, 30 million, 40 million plus
Yeah.
views. And then around 2022, they did like this shift. And that's when a lot of things started to drop off. And ironically, that was right around the time YouTube started to incorporate their shorts. So
Yeah.
I just cross-populated all of my stuff into shorts, and then YouTube became that thing that was supplying the dollar, so to speak. So I kind of TikTok kind of fell out in my favor, where they had to make the algorithm apply to everybody. And what do I mean by that is they had to give everybody their fair chance. So people
Hmm.
could push out a bunch of crappy content and say all of a sudden, well, I've got 10,000 views or I did this. But I don't think they really just considered, like, people will watch good content if it's genuinely good, if it's interesting, it's captivating. And
Yeah.
it gave everybody a fair shot, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it put a bad taste in people's mouths. And I like to use the analogy of virality. Everyone likes to say, I've gone viral on TikTok or whatever, however. Nobody goes viral. The people that go viral are the people that are in the news. They're going on, the Joe Rogan like podcast. People can have a lot of success in a video, but I would never consider one of my videos to have gone viral. I wasn't going on the news and talking about the one video that I did that went absolutely viral all around the world.
Yeah.
So that's where I think TikTok has misled people into believing that you can make stuff. And there's nothing wrong with making content, but the more you punch out, the more popular you're going to be. And I think it is absolutely backwards. I've talked with many of the TikTok creators and these people that are like, do what I do and you'll do that. I've had so many phone conversations and they're like, what have you done? What is your secret? And my secret was simply this. I reply to people's comments. I don't hold myself or think of myself to be any better than anybody else, but I also make things that are interesting.
Yeah.
And like I just stuck with that formula and it's worked. Now, that formula for me doesn't necessarily work on YouTube, which is
Mhm.
one of those things I scratch my head at like, oh, I should have the same amount of success. Well, 10 million plus people on TikTok and 1 million on YouTube, there's a difference there. So I think
Yeah.
on YouTube, you have to put more thought, you have to put more action, you have to put a little bit more heart into the video. And it's not saying that people don't do that on TikTok, but people can go around and film a TikTok for 30 seconds and post it. When on YouTube in a long form format, there's editing. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things that go into play. And I think that's the big difference. And when I saw the shift in what TikTok was paying out, I said, well, it's pretty logical. I'm going to go to the place that's going to pay me the most. I will still post here, but
Yeah.
the priority is going to shift over to YouTube. And
Yeah.
that's just,
Plus, they work hand in hand. I mean, like if you're doing good on TikTok, you're doing good on YouTube. And
sure.
I like what you said. Um, the only time it's been a chore for me is sometimes I've battled, depression and like the haters. But
Yeah.
that's when it's only been a chore. Any other time, I've kind of done what you did. I try to post as consistent as I can on both platforms. I've had fun with it.
Yeah.
With me, I'm like, what you see is what you get. Don't do anything fake.
That's it.
Be you. I film interesting things that I'm into, not what the audience wants me to film. I film what I want to film,
Bingo.
and
And
uh,
your audience will show up to watch it.
yeah,
And that's what the key is like I know my YouTube is not going to satiate everybody and what they want to watch. But those
yeah.
that want to watch will show up and they watch it, and that's who I'm making it for.
And
And it
also, I've told people I'm a realist. I've told my fans a million times. I doubt I'll ever hit 100,000 on my YouTube and get like a play button. It's just because I'm already 41, and I was like, if I haven't hit it, then it would be
uh,
nice to have a play button to be like, hey,
don't
wow, I hit that. It'd be great to have a play button. As a joke, a couple of years ago, I went on Etsy and made myself a fake play button
nice.
and put it on the wall and said, "Hey, Fears, you hit 1,000. That's probably all you'll ever get." That's my fake one on the wall. But I doubt. I mean, if before I die, if I hit 100,000 or a million or 10 million or whatever, it would be icing on top of the cake. I love my fans. I've got some of the best fans in the world. I just had one of my fans slash friends stay with me. His name is Sega. Um, uh, those are the last few vlogs. I showed him around Orlando,
Yeah.
and it was fantastic. That the amount of people that I've met on TikTok and YouTube have been wonderful.
Yeah.
And
I think I saw those where you guys were driving around.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw those. I saw
yeah.
those
I
were good. I enjoyed it.
he wanted to go to Disney. He loves mini golf, so we went and played mini golf. I showed him around. We didn't get to the beach, unfortunately, but I
No
said
worries.
next time, Sega, next time.
Well,
But yeah,
I'll tell you this. So I started my YouTube in 2017, and I hit 100,000 on YouTube, I think in 2022.
wow.
So it takes time, man. And like
Yeah,
I've created so many different types of video for YouTube. I know exactly which ones do the best. I will like my shorts can get some of them have several million, but those are shorts, right?
yeah.
I don't count those in the grand scheme. My long form videos where I go out and I live in the bush with stone tools or anything like that, those do well. When I do flint napping, my views just drop, but people still want to know. So you
And see,
can
which is
still
crazy because I love when you make the stone, like the stone weapons are like some of my favorite content that you've made.
Well, I
Like
appreciate.
when someone's like, "Hey Donnie, can you make a sword out of obsidian?" Yeah, and then you go
Yeah.
and do it.
Yeah, and it works, but it doesn't work all the time. So
Yeah,
I would say, even though you're what, 42, you said, turning 42.
I'm about to turn 42 in October.
Okay, what day in October?
28.
Okay, I'm in October as well. I'll be 46.
Nice.
But it's one of those things that it just takes time. And like I've never had a long form video that has 1 million views. Never had one. I've had some that have 100,000, 2, 3, four
Mhm.
hundred thousand. But those are the anomalies, and those are a specific type of video, and I can recreate those, but I always can't get to those environments all the time.
I'd say
But
some of my videos have hit maybe a couple thousand, two, three, but there's only a few of them. I started Fearsman26 actually in film school when I went
oh,
to film.
right on.
I didn't even know what it was. My friend said, "Hey, there's this new platform." I thought you had to pay for it because I was paying Vimeo back in the day to put my all my student projects on there. And I
Gotcha.
told my friend, I said, "Oh, I said I'm not gonna pay for another platform." And he's like, "No, no, no, John, this is new. It's free." So he
Yeah.
actually helped me make Fearsman26, and then I did that for a while, and then I created Fears vlogs, and I was
Oh,
like,
right on.
okay. So and then the TikTok came after that, but so yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's cool. But give yourself some time, man. Like, I mean, I'm 46. So it's one of those things where like that can be a personal goal to be like, I'd love to get to 100,000. I bet eventually you will. You know what I mean? And one
I
day
hope
you're,
it would be great. It'd
yeah,
be awesome.
you absolutely will. And like when, like, I think if my play buttons are right up there,
There you go.
amongst all the other stuff, but that took time. It
Because
took a
I
lot of,
love making people laugh. Obviously, you've seen my content.
yeah,
I love the power of laughter. You shouldn't take yourself too seriously. I genuinely believe I was put on this earth to entertain and make people laugh. I love making people laugh. Love it.
and that's perfect. So if that's what you love to do, just keep doing it. The numbers will come. The
I
people
will.
that want to watch will show up, and that's, if you focus on that, perfect. I mean, we are a little bit older,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things. But I think it keeps you relevant, and as long as you can kind of keep evolving in certain ways to deliver something that engages people, entertains them, I think you can't go wrong. I mean,
See,
you'll get there.
people gripe on age, and I'm like, with age gains knowledge. you know?
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, I've told my mom this. I said, Mom, when I'm 40, when I turn 42, I'll still make content. When I'm 90, I'll still be making content.
Yeah, why not?
I'm like, I don't care about my age. If I live to 105, I'll film my funeral,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, it's funny because even on like TikTok, when I went on it at first, I think I just turned, um, yeah, what year is it? Yeah, 2025. So I was like 40, 41, similar to your
Okay.
age. But there was nobody else in my community in the flint napping or survival community at all. There was zero. And I think a lot of people assumed that TikTok was this younger person's
Yeah.
dancing sort of thing. And a lot of people mocked it. And then quickly, everyone and their mother jumped onto it, where actors and actresses and athletes and companies, everybody was on it. So I think because I was an early adopter, because I wanted to monitor what my kid was doing,
Yeah.
it gave me an opportunity to flourish very early into TikTok, where if I posted a video, and I usually posted them on Wednesdays. Wednesday was always the best day. I'd post it on Wednesday, and then what
Hmm.
I would do is I would post it and I would sit around for the next hour and I would reply to people's comments. And I think that gave a lot of engagement, which in the world
Okay.
of algorithms made other people, like, holy cow, this guy responded, or whatever. This guy built this sword that I asked him to build. And that's what grew an audience for me. I never asked them to buy anything. I never asked them to go to my pay. Like, I don't have a Patreon. I'm not sponsored. It was just, I'm here to make this for you to watch and enjoy. And I think they,
A lot of my content is like respond to people. I try to respond.
yeah,
I'll do like 5 or 6 respond videos. Then I'll be like, "Hey guys, I just got a new movie prop," and then I'll film the movie props, and then I go
yeah.
back to responding to people. So yeah.
And that's essentially it. So I think when people showed up to watch my stuff, there was no obligations on their part to do anything but just watch it. And I think that gave them a little bit of relief in the world of TikTok, where it was like, oh, do I have to buy this? Or do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? And the other thing that led to a certain level of success was I never overposted. And this is where I think everyone is kind of going down the wrong track. If you have a video that's doing very well, let it be very well. Let it do its thing for a couple days. Don't
Mhm.
over post on top of it. And now you're competing with your previous video. I never over posted. I would post on a Wednesday. I'd reply on Wednesday. And then on those Thursdays and those Fridays, things would keep going. And there was a window where I'm like, you know what? All right, it's winter time. There's not a lot of people outside. Let's post on a Saturday and let that one roll all
Yeah.
the way to the Wednesday. And I think I figured out a formula that worked well for what I was doing. And a lot of people would call and they would ask, like, well, could I do take your kind of methodology and over, put it over mine? And I'd say probably not. And here's the reason why: because what I do is very organic to TikTok and what people are wanting to watch. So feel free to take, can you do this? Yeah, whatever, however, it doesn't matter to me. But like, that's just what works for me and the specific things that I'm doing. So it's a way, it's not necessarily the way, but just make interesting stuff and
Yeah.
people will come around. That's it,
Like I would say I need to figure out more of a format of like posting. Like I always try to stay as consistent. Like on YouTube, I always do a couple live shows for my fans, like maybe 2 or
Mhm.
3 shows a week. And then I try to post at least 1 or 2 videos, like actual videos that I edited.
Yeah.
And then on TikTok, I'll maybe do 2 a week, 3 a week, something like that. So that's the format I've done, but I've kept it kind of loosey goosey. But I need to have
Yeah.
more of a structured like posting schedule. I think because if you had that, everyone would be like, all right, he's gonna post on this.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on that. So yeah.
Yeah, and like I've made videos that I knew I just wanted to see how they're gonna play. Like I know for me, if I post something on TikTok, it's on a Wednesday at 3 o'clock in Colorado. Why it's that is simply this: 3 o'clock is 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Kids are out of school, people
Yeah.
are off of work, so they start watching there. And as the hours move by, they slowly sweep across the states, then go to Hawaii, then go to Asia, and I get this kind of continuous thing. I don't post something at like 11 o'clock at night when so many people are already in bed, and then it's an international audience, and that doesn't work well with the US based sort of tag. So I played around with a lot of videos to figure out what was that best sort of system for me. I figured it out, and it allowed me to kind of move up in the TikTok sort of views, I guess you
Yeah,
could say.
I've done both. I've done in the afternoon. I've done late at night because I work a graveyard shift. I'll
Yeah,
go in like at 3, 4 in the morning, and then I'm out by 9 or 10. That's
yeah,
just how FedEx does it. I'll be like, you know what? I'll post it at 11 right before I start getting ready for work, and then I've done it in the afternoon. A lot of my audience, whenever I do my lives, I do it around 6, 7, 8. So
sure.
because I know everyone will be either off work or they're getting ready for work, and they'll tune in before they go. So yeah.
Yeah, that's smart. No, figure
All
out
right.
what that thing is and let it roll.
Yeah, my last TikTok question is: I've
Yeah.
always been interested in this, and then we're gonna move on to the next topic. Um, is I love your yeah videos, and I wanted to know how the yeah thing came about because, like, you can respond to your audience either way, and like, did someone, like you kept saying yeah, and then like you're like, oh, I'll keep that going, or was it like you just said, oh, I'll just pick one response for everything? I want to know how you always came up
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
been videos where someone's like, "Hey, can you just make a 2-minute video of just yeah,
Yeah. 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 So that really, it morphed into this thing. And if you go back and watch some of my earlier videos, those weren't even a thing until I started doing some builds. And then I would just read the comment that they asked. And there was a couple where I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then I just kind of basically got cut down into a yeah. And
yeah,
then based off of people's comments and how they responded, like, oh man, I just love how you say yeah. I was like, cool. If that person likes it and 200 people also mention that same thing, then that's what I'm gonna do. I read the comment, I post it up there, I say yeah, and I do it. More importantly, that allowed me to engage an audience where they knew exactly what I was going to do every single time, and
mm-hmm.
it was structured. There wasn't like a 4 second delay of me being like doing something. It was as soon as they swipe, it's my ugly mug saying, "Can you build a knife?" Yeah, and then boom, I just build it.
You did go
It
right into it.
was, and I got right into it. And it gave them the opportunity and the kind of the realization saying, all right, we know exactly what he's going to do. It's going to be about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and he's going to build a knife. And they
Nice.
knew their investment of time wasn't going to have to be 5 minutes or 6 minutes. That's not why they're on TikTok. So
And
they
me
could sit.
personally, that's one of the best parts of all your videos. I'm just waiting. I'm like, is he gonna say yeah at the end or in the beginning or the middle? I look forward to the yeah because I think it's great.
Right on.
That's one
And
of the
then,
greatest things that you've ever created. Done. Yeah, yeah.
thanks, man.
Because you
I
say
appreciate it.
because you say yeah different ways. Like you do a funny one, you do a serious one, and
I
then you're
got
like,
him. Yeah.
and then you like one time you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
like
It's, 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 it's something people can recognize, but more importantly, when
yeah,
it's ending, I usually say, all right, that's how I build a knife. Thanks for watching. And
yeah.
it's
And you
like,
yeah, you always go like yeah, yeah.
I always throw a shock out there, but that is the delivery, and it's a very easy structure to plan, but it also allows the audience, their expectations are managed. He's going to say this, he's going to do this, he's going to say this, and it's done,
Nice.
and it just works for
Well,
me.
I
For me.
appreciate all the TikTok questions. We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
I've got 3 challenges for you.
All right.
I wanted to record this because guys, for 2 years I've been trying to get Donny to make something that I've asked, and I know you're really busy. You get to as
I
many
will.
people, but I thought last night when I was making my cheat sheet, I was like, all right, I want to. I said, so you can either do all 3 or you can just pick your favorite out of these 3. So the first one is, can you build a raft and float down a river? That was probably my very first one.
Okay.
My second one is can you build a fire and make your favorite meat and show us the process of handling it and making it?
Okay. All right.
And then the third one was um, can you and Finn go fishing together?
Okay.
So
So,
those are my 3. So out
all
of
right.
those 3, just pick your favorite.
All right. So, in all honesty, I have done all of those.
Oh, okay.
But the raft was
I've never seen the raft one. Then I guess
the,
I
the
missed that one.
the raft was for a TV show, and as long as I can get to the right place with the right materials, I that's on my docket. So when I get to that spot, like I'll have to find where you've asked it, but I'll be like, hey, Fear, send me a quick comment about the raft, and then I'll jump right into it. No
Okay.
issues. So yeah, like Finn and I, we've fished lots of times, and I can't remember if those are exact videos on TikTok, but we've done those where I've hung venison off a tree and cut it and skewered it. But I will do those. I could.
Just pick one of your favorites because, like,
Yeah.
I've tried for 2 years, and I was like, well, now that me and Donny are friends, and we're gonna keep in touch. Donny's got my number, I got his number, and we're definitely gonna keep in touch, man. I'll just
I
send you a
will.
text. I'll be like, if I think of a better one out of beyond those 3,
Those are great. Those are great. Those are
because
absolutely great. The raft one I've been
I
wanting
never
to do.
saw the raft on the TV show. I was like, oh man, a raft. Because like when I saw the idea for the raft was when you were washing your clothes in the river, and I
Gotcha.
said, if Donny finds a big enough river, I'm like, how cool would it be? Kind of like Castaway style, you know,
Yep.
where he makes a raft. I was like, if he made a raft and put him and Finn on the raft and float down a river, I'm like, that would be an epic video. I said, I'd
All
love to
right.
see that.
I'll do that one. I'll find the right location, and I will specifically go and do it, because to build a raft is not that hard. To be honest with you, it's maybe like a 4 or 5 hour long project, but how
Yeah.
you go about doing it, like it's a great learning thing, because so many people are like, oh, I got to build these wooden rafts. I'm a big reed raft guy. It's really cool. So John, I promise you, before I die, I will
Good.
build, I will build the raft. I
Well, and
will absolutely do
last
it.
night when I was thinking of him, I said I want to think of fun videos that he could do and something easy and something quick, like so he could like make it a TikTok video. And I said I want to have one of them either by himself or with Finn because I think Finn is one of the most adorable dogs ever.
He's a good dog. He's a good rescue. He was a
And
good dog.
that's a good segue into Finn. I made him so Finn. How did you and Finn become buddies? Where did you find him?
So he was found on the side of the road. Come on. Just eating some roadkill. Come on, bud. Come here. Whoa, you big lug. And
There he is. There's the big boy.
hey, and I just adopted him, and he essentially became my bush buddy. So when I'm working during the day, he's kind of sleeping at night, or sleeping during the day. and then when I'm sleeping at night, he's out kind of patrolling the area. But
Oh yeah.
he's just a rescue, and he's
So you and your wife, he was just walking on the side of the road, and you guys found him.
So the Humane Society picked him up because he was eating roadkill,
Okay.
and I just got a notification that he was available to adopt. I literally drove down, snatched him up, and then we went directly out into the mountains. And I was like, he's going to be, a mountain dog, a bush dog.
Nice.
That very trip, we were walking out of the mountains after a couple days. We shot some marmots, and I gave him some food, and he liked eating the fish that I was catching. But
Mm-hmm.
as we were walking down, a big moose jumped out right in front of us. And moose in the mountains are
Okay.
something you do not mess with. They are extremely aggressive. They are some real like
Are they very
problems.
like territorial animals?
Yes, very territorial, very aggressive. They will charge you. It does
Okay.
not matter. There's more moose attacks than there are bear attacks.
Okay.
So this big moose jumps out in front of us, and Finn's in front of me, and he instantly goes into this mode of like aggression and just starts growling and barking at this moose, pushing it and driving it away. And I'm
Oh, good.
standing,
Good.
yeah, and I'm standing behind him like in complete shock. Like, I've had this dog for 6 days. We've
Okay.
just bonded over wild foods and sleeping in the mountains under the stars. He's now my best friend, and we
That's
go
awesome. So like
everywhere.
when he protected you against the moose, you're like, this guy is gonna be my buddy for life. This
He's the
guy is
one.
the man.
He's the one. He's on the cover of the book with me.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we've gone out into the mountains where, we've been, hunting and squirrel hunting and rabbit hunting and all sorts of stuff. And I'm not having any luck, but he'll be able to sniff out a rabbit or
Oh,
some
okay.
sort of pack rabbit, and he'll bring food back. Um, he's a good dog.
So the
He's
next Finn question is: when you guys are out in the bush, what's his all-time favorite thing to eat when you guys are in the bush?
he likes trout.
Trout. Okay.
He likes eating like trout heads and that sort of stuff. I'll throw him a
Oh,
whole
nice.
trout, and he'll just chew on it. He enjoys it.
Me and my dad and my grandpa, we went fishing a lot, like in Missouri, and I've eaten trout. I've eaten all sorts of type of fish, but trout's good.
Yeah,
I've
trout's real
had
good.
trout many times, and it's very good.
Trout is probably one of my favorite fish. He also likes squirrel. He likes,
Oh, no,
like,
okay.
yeah, if I shoot a squirrel, like, and he'll look right at me like, give me my cut, my guy, I
Yeah,
helped
yeah,
you out, that sort of thing. And
yeah.
he's good because if you're squirrel hunting, like most squirrels, they'll give an alarm if there's a threat. And typically when it's humans, it's not as bad. But being that he kind of looks like a coyote, if he's walking around trees, they'll start chirping. It lets me know where the squirrels are, and then we have a meal.
So my all-time favorite uh, video with you and Finn, it's a split between you threw something and said, "Hey, go get it," and
Yeah,
I forgot what that was that you threw a boomerang, I think. What?
yeah, rabbit stick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, rabbit
Yeah.
stick. That's one of my favorite videos, and then the recent ones where you and Finn were building the shelter together in the 28 weeks later.
Oh yeah.
Those two. But if you had to pick your all-time favorite video, it can be on your TikTok, your YouTube, the stuff you've done on TV. What's like the best video that you and Finn have been in together?
I think the best one is probably, I think when we're out in like the Chihuahua Desert and I'm building this shelter, and
Okay.
like it's hot, there's no trees. I'm out there, I'm building it, and I'm really building it for him to have some shade. And
Okay.
as soon as it goes up, he just crawls in and just goes to sleep. Like, and I think why I like it so much is like, you never really realize how much he or an animal relies on their human to take care of them. But that entire night, he was up patrolling the area. There's
Okay.
lots of coyotes, there's different things out there. So he was kind of like, hey, let me get my rest. I'm going to go do my thing in the night. You can rest. So it's that little bit of a balance back and forth. But those rabbit sticks, he loves them.
Oh,
That's like
good.
he loves fetching them. If I pull one out, he gets super excited, especially if it's like we're gonna, try to get some rats or something like that, or some squirrels with it. He just loves them, and he'll go get
So
them every single time.
our family dog, he's called Enzo, and
Cool.
he absolutely loves. My dad named him before he passed away. My Enzo loves tennis balls. He can't get
Oh,
enough.
right.
So anytime I go, I'm always throwing like balls across the yard. And I wanted to know, is Finn a mix of two different types? What type of breed of dog is he?
Yeah. So the vet said he's a mix between a pit bull, a husky, and he might have some coyote from him. And how
Okay.
he would have some coyote is they believe he was a res dog, a dog on a reservation that was adopted as a puppy,
Okay.
brought up somewhere into Colorado, and then he eventually just escaped and found his way onto the side of the road.
Well, thank God you guys found each other.
I know he's a good dog. Isn't that right? Is that right?
Nice.
There he
Nice.
is.
Well, moving right along.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you. I this one I had to ask because I wanted to thank you for looking at both of my my TikTok and my YouTube channel.
Yeah, man.
I
Absolutely.
thought, oh, I'm like, I gotta add this in on the cheat sheet. I wanted you to pick two of my favorite TikToks and two of my favorite videos on YouTube. So I'll go first. My two favorite is the one where you said, "Can you make the obsidian blade?" That's my all-time favorite one, where you make this and then you promote your book. That's one of my favorites. And then my second one would probably be any of the 28-day ones. I love
28 days.
yeah, those are like my two favorite. And then on YouTube, your most recent one, the one that you just posted, that because I just subscribed to your channel last year.
Right on.
Because I didn't know that you had YouTube, and it just dawned on me last year. I was like, oh well, if he's got a TikTok, I bet you if I write in Donny Dust, and then I found your YouTube. So I've only been watching your YouTube for about a year, but I've been watching your TikTok for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of became friends. And
Yeah.
so your most recent video with all the stone blades in it, the one that you just posted a few days ago, I was like, oh man, this one's great. So
Oh, cool.
that
Thanks,
one,
man.
and then I've actually heard the moose story before.
Cool.
And I think you posted it was on your on it was either on your TikTok or your YouTube. You were on a podcast, and I don't remember who you were telling it to, but I think you put a portion of that on your YouTube.
Okay.
And I had forgotten that you told that story. And then when you started talking about you and Finn, I was like, I've heard this story before, but I didn't hear the entire story because I heard that portion on that YouTube video, and I was like, oh yes, I finally get to hear the whole story. Nice. So like
Yeah.
those are my faves. But if you had to pick two of your favorite TikTok videos of mine and two of my favorite YouTube videos, what would you do?
I think I like your reviews. Well, there's two, because one, I really like anytime you do any of your movie prop reviews,
Okay.
like because I don't collect a lot of movie props, and I wish I would, but I like to see yours, like the hoverboard, Back to the Future 2. Yeah, like come on, man, that's like every kid's dream to have
That's
that.
signed. That's
I
signed by
know.
Michael J. And then Biff signed it right here.
I know, man. Like seeing that, like I don't know how. Well, I think because it's unique, because your videos bring me back to a point when I was a kid or even
Yeah.
growing up where I'm like, oh man, I remember that. And like the hoverboard specifically for me is because I think when I saw him on the hoverboard and like Biff had
Yeah.
the bulldog or the pit bull with the little rocket boosters,
Yeah.
I think what it is I find your videos very, they and this is where I think you should really capitalize is it connects older people, someone like my age or even into their 30s, to a little bit
Mhm.
of that nostalgia.
Yeah.
So anytime you are going over any sort of movie prop, I just like them because I can literally be like, holy shit, the hoverboards or anything. It just brings me to a point in time in my life where I'm like, oh man, I remember watching, like I still have the newspapers of USA Today when Michael J. Fox, do you remember, what was it? I can't remember the exact year. I think it was 2015,
Yeah.
where it shows him like being on there. Well, in the States, obviously, they did that in the USA Today. And I was traveling on a plane at that time and saw it and picked up like 10 of them. And that's like the
I
only kind
recently
of,
got that paper. It's right over there.
yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
yeah.
So those sort of videos are the ones that I like to
Because
consume. And
recently I've been decorating my whole I decorate my entire apartment for each season, and I've been making a lot of videos of that. And I have a movie prop table, and then I leave some here, and then I put some in my Halloween/Christmas tree. So they're all over the place. So yeah.
yeah, I dig it.
The next one I'm gonna buy is in Jurassic Park. You know the goggles, the night vision goggles.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
next
cool.
prop I'm ordering. So yeah.
See, that's the sort of stuff that I think is like, and like especially because you say you open up all your stuff with like, "Hey, Fears," and it's a great intro. It's a
Yeah.
response, but I like the movie prop stuff. I do like the movie reviews, but I think the ones on YouTube that I kind of connect with the most is kind of like the behind the scenes. Like, I know you're setting up for like Halloween right now,
Yeah.
and I think it gives people just a little bit of a different look into who you are, what you are. Like, you have a Halloween tree. I
Yeah.
never, I never, I was like, he's got a Halloween tree. Why don't I have a like? I love Halloween. That's
I
like
love,
one of
yeah.
the,
My two favorite holidays, Halloween and then Christmas and then my birthday, you
there
know?
you go.
Yeah.
So I think on the grand scale, I definitely be the hoverboard, but I do like, I always call them just BTS, like the behind the scenes sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I love
and
behind the scenes.
yeah, they're just those are probably the ones that I enjoy seeing the most. I will be 100% honest. Like, I don't watch a lot of YouTube and TikTok as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So I need to get back into it and kind of spend some time, especially for the people that I follow.
Well,
Getting
Donnie,
on
I'll,
there.
I'll I'll say to you what I say to my fans. Like, I know that everyone has busy lives, so I tell my fans, because not all my fans can always get to my videos or my lives. I'm gonna say to you what I say to them is, I appreciate when you do watch, when you can
Absolutely.
watch,
No,
and I
absolutely.
appreciate that. And you've definitely been a good inspiration, man. I love your videos. You can make great content. So
I
yeah, and
appreciate
I
it.
and I'm
Thank you.
glad I'm glad I have your number now, so we can stay in touch, man.
Absolutely.
And this will not be the last time that we hang out, buddy. Because
Absolutely not.
it's been an honor, and I'd say the best way to describe me in 3 words, because I'm going to ask you, vintage, nostalgic, and then funny is the three to describe me.
I like it.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I think I would describe myself as loyal, adventurous, and creative.
That's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, man. I like it.
I'm very loyal too to my friends and my family. I would not be John Fears without it. Would go family first, then friends, and then my YouTube audience and my TikTok audience.
Awesome, man. That's a good way of setting and managing an expectation, but also living within the reality of who
Yeah.
you are. So I respect that.
So I always give everybody an opportunity. This is the part of the interview. Time for some unscripted questions. So
Uh-oh.
and then we're gonna take some fan questions. So if any of the fans have got a question, put them in the chat when we get to it, guys. So we're just gonna bounce some unscripted questions. We'll do 5 each. So do you want to go first, or do I? You want me to go?
I'll go first.
All right,
So
go ahead.
I'm curious, what is your exact like favorite movie or franchise of
Okay,
movies? That's
I have a
and I
movie.
think I think I've seen enough of your stuff where I think I know,
Yeah,
but I've heard you say on a couple different videos, "Oh, I love this, one of my favorites. Oh, this
yeah.
is another one of my favorites." So I'm like, I need to know like what is the favorite. But I'm gonna make my guess. I want to say Star Wars.
No, no.
Oh, okay. You're throwing me for a loop then. All right, go for it.
I do love Star Wars, but it's
Yeah.
not my. I've got my favorite genres, and then I've got a favorite movie in each genre. But my favorite movie of all time is
Yes.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. All right. Because you're doing a Ghostbusters too. You just went and saw it. Did you not?
Yes,
Like,
in one of my vlogs, a
yeah.
couple when I posted about a month or two ago,
Yeah.
that's the second time I've seen it in the theaters on the big screen, and I put it in the blog. And then I've always wanted to see Jaws on the big screen, but I haven't had
Okay.
a chance yet. But they recently made a Blu-ray slash 4K steelbook of the 50th anniversary, so I got to see the 50th anniversary
Very cool.
version of Jaws, just not in the theaters. But if they ever put it back on theaters, then I'm gonna go watch it. So yeah,
Very cool.
I've
All
got
right.
and then my favorite genres would probably be um, horror, comedy, and sci-fi.
Okay. I knew horror was one of them.
Yeah,
I knew that was probably your top. But yeah, I think okay. I think Ghostbusters was in that tier because when you did that vlog and you went into the movie theater and you were talking about like, I've seen it one time before. This is my first time seeing it in a theater, all that sort of stuff. Again, going to the point of like, holy shit, when was the last time I saw Ghostbusters 2? It just brought me back to that place. So
yeah,
thank you through those because it allows me to relive some pretty great,
yeah.
memories. So,
Yeah, man. So, my first unscripted question was, what was the very first movie you ever saw?
oh gosh, the very first movie.
Mine was Goonies.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it might have been Goonies, like on VHS, or or it would have been Child's Play 1. I remember that
Okay,
distinctly because I think my sister was babysitting me and she was like, I think she rented it and was like, let's watch this. And it just like freaked me out from a,
nice. That's a good one. That's a
yeah,
good
like
one.
Chucky and the Good Guy dolls.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been Goonies as like that first time, but like it's hard to remember exactly. But like I've been a Goonies fan forever,
I
like
love
forever.
Goonies. They're
Seen the
thinking about
original version? Have you
they're
ever
think,
seen the original
yes, I've seen the original.
with the actual octopus and
Yep.
everything? Yeah.
I've
See.
seen both versions, and they're thinking about making a Goonies too. We'll
Oh
see.
man.
I I
Yeah.
I I I have mixed reviews. Like they could taint it,
Yeah.
or it could be an absolute blast. But we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. No. All right. That's cool. That's cool. I like
Oh,
that.
okay.
All
So
right.
second unscripted question. Go ahead.
All right. So, second unscripted question would be if you were stuck
Okay.
on an island, there's a natural source of water, there's coconuts, and there's some wild goats on that island. That's what the
Okay.
island is. It's a couple miles long,
Okay.
and you're in the middle of nowhere. What would be your 5 survival items that you would bring with you to get off of the island?
Okay. Definitely a knife.
A knife?
Any knife, a pocket, just a knife, because a knife is a great weapon, a great tool. So a knife,
Okay.
some type of like in your videos, you have like a little container that holds water, so you can boil it.
Smart. Okay. I
So
like it.
something to hold water to boil it.
Okay.
Um, a blanket to stay
Smart.
warm, and then uh, probably some good clothes. Well, no, a blanket would be because you could use blanket as a source of clothing. Knife, a container to boil something.
You
Uh,
going with blanket?
a blanket, and then I'm trying to think of two more. Some type of hat to keep the sun out, and
Okay.
then just um, a flint starter to make a fire.
Make a fire starter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, some type of fire starter. Yeah, so those would be
All
my
right.
five.
So a knife, a container to boil and carry water, a blanket, a hat, and then a fire starter.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because all those would help you stay alive. Because if you're on an island by yourself, kind of like that Tom Hanks movie Castaway, but
Castaway. Yeah.
uh, I instantly thought of that movie when you asked me that question. I was like,
Good.
well, he used stuff to stay alive. That's the most important, staying alive.
That's true. I would bring probably a speedboat, a map, and about 3 20-gallon barrels of gasoline and just drive myself back home.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I should have thought of something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always one of those things in like a lot of the classes that I teach. I always ask like those kind of hypothetical questions, and it's like,
Because
well,
I
if you're,
I was coming from the mindset, well, uh, when is someone going to come by this island? So I'm like, it may take a couple weeks to
yeah,
like get someone's attention. So I'm like, I need stuff to survive that long to get someone's attention. Like,
for sure,
I would do exactly what he did in Castaway, like make a signal fire.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I would I would hunt. I would find food. Like he gets water from the coconuts. He boils water.
yeah,
All then he makes a raft at the end and finally
yep,
gets off. So
yeah,
I
right
was
on.
thinking that way. But yeah, if I have those means, gas boat, and I'd be
And
out
I'm
of there.
out.
Yeah. As soon as you
Right
said
on.
that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
No worries, man.
All right. So third unscripted question. I'm gonna go. Okay. If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what movie would it be?
Ooh, gosh, oh, that is
One movie.
one movie. That's a just one movie. Gosh,
For me, it would either be Halloween because I love
okay,
that's my favorite horror movie, or
uh,
Ghostbusters. I
okay.
wouldn't care either one. Either one.
I would probably say it sounds kind of weird, but I love the Count of Monte Cristo.
That's a
that
great movie.
that the whole story in that movie, I can probably tell you
Which one do you like? Do you like the remake and the old one, or do you just like the old one?
I like the one that has what's his name, Guy Pearce in it, I think his
Oh,
name.
that's the remake. Yeah,
Yeah, the remake. So that's, I've seen that. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it, but I love the story as it is, and I think it's like a great story. That's probably
that
one
movie is
I love
fantastic.
it.
Have you ever watched the original? I highly suggest it.
I can't say that I have, but I will definitely seek it out.
It's
And
black and white.
okay.
I've seen it twice. I had to watch it in film school.
Oh, right on.
We
Okay.
watched a lot of old movies in film school, and then we had to like write papers. And like I
Cool.
watched the original Frankenstein. We watched the original Count of Monte Cristo.
Awesome.
We watched The Bride of Frankenstein. A lot of the old,
Yeah.
a bunch of the old ones.
That's
And
cool.
yeah,
That's real cool.
but as soon as you said that, I was like, I love that movie.
It's a good movie, man.
It is.
It's a good movie. I just like
But
it.
it's about redemption, and then he gets revenge on the people that like kind of
Yeah.
fucked him over. Then it has a whole bunch of survival because the buddy that he meets in jail, he's like, well, we have to do this to survive. We have to do it a certain way because if they catch us, they're gonna kill us.
Yeah. It's got resilience, perseverance, love, revenge, just this it's just got all these different things where I think you see like a full spectrum of character development,
Mhm.
and it's just a great movie. I've always enjoyed it. So
All right,
that's
next
it.
question.
All right. So if you could be one character
Ooh,
from any movie for 1 year. It's got to be a year.
a year.
More importantly, you have to be in the environment where that character lives. So if it was someone from Lord of the Rings, you're in Middle Earth. You
Yeah.
get my point. So character, 1 year, and consider the environment that they're in.
That's such a good question. I wish I would have thought of that. I'm gonna have to really think about this because there's so many. Either I was gonna at first I was gonna say either a Ghostbuster like in New
Okay.
York because I love that movie, but as much as I love Ghostbusters, like I think it would be really cool to be Michael Myers because that's my favorite horror guy.
Just killing people for a straight year.
Yeah, like going nuts. Yeah,
Oh man.
but if I only had to pick one, because Ghostbusters is my favorite movie of all time, I
Yeah.
would say a Ghostbuster
A Ghostbuster?
for a
Okay.
whole year.
For a whole year.
What about you?
I think I would go with Mel Gibson in the classic movie Braveheart. I know
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not the most historically accurate as far as
But
the
it's a
Battle
great
of,
movie. It's
but it's a
awesome.
great movie, and
Awesome.
I would love to just experience that, broadswords and being Scottish. I just think that'd be a
That one was
really
so good. I was like, I'm gonna do that as my fourth unscripted question because now we're on the last. I was like, I gotta ask Donnie that too. I'm like, I'll mark off one of my unscripted questions.
you're good.
Yeah. So all
Right
right,
on.
and then the fifth unscripted question. Go ahead.
All right. So if there was, and I know we kind of did a survival, we're kind of in the movies, but I do.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So if there was one movie, and you had to, I don't want to say cast it as the worst movie ever or like the worst kind of like redo of a movie, what is your kind of movie that is just way off the mark based off something original? And it can be a story
Okay.
written in book, or it can be a redo of something, just like we talked about Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
What is the worst, and like what would you never recommend anybody going to actually see?
The
Like what is
the worst
yeah.
film I've ever seen in my entire life. It makes no sense, and it's so bad. There's a couple of funny moments in it. It's called Drainiac. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It
No.
is it is so bad. It makes no. It's basically kind of like they tried to rip off. I forgot that those that found footage type of movie. I forgot that.
Oh, Blair Witch.
Yeah, they kind of.
Yeah.
It's a bit of that, but instead of in the woods, it's found footage in a house that someone someone dies and this girl adopts this house, and the house comes alive. It's got tentacles.
What?
It's so insane, and then the house comes alive, and it makes no sense. And then the best scene that I almost died laughing. It makes
Yeah.
no sense. It's all about the 4 or 5 people in the house and how they survive this house that comes alive. Then it cuts to this this car, and this guy's like, oh man, something's wrong with like my engine. How am I gonna fix it? And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, this skeleton shoots out of the engine, grabs him by the neck, pulls him down, burns his face on the exhaust, and then he
What the?
dies. And then out of nowhere, this guy with long hair and he's wearing a black sweatshirt walks in, takes a bite of an apple, and goes, "That's peculiar." And then he walks off, and I died laughing.
What
It
the
makes no
heck?
sense.
Oh my gosh, I almost have
And
to see
me,
it
me,
now.
me, and my best friend Eric, we found it a long time ago at like Blockbuster when Blockbuster was still a thing. And my buddy Eric was like, "John, I don't know why, but this looks hilarious because even the
Yeah,
front, even
yeah.
the thumbnail, the poster on the Blockbuster movie made no sense. It said
Jeez.
Drainiac, they'll suck the life out of you, and then it's a purple skeleton with like lightning coming off his hair.
Oh my
It
God,
makes no sense.
that's it's almost when now you have to watch it. Now I gotta find it and watch it.
It's called Drainiac. It is
Brainiac. All right,
so weird. But the most funniest part is when that guy gets killed
sucked
and there's
into it.
like there's fog coming out of his mouth because he got his face got burned on the exhaust port of
No
like the
kidding.
engine. And then the guy in the black sweater, he just takes a like if this is the apple, he takes a big bite and then 10-second pause. That's peculiar. And he just walks off camera, doesn't explain anything, and I
Oh,
fucking lost my mind.
oh my God, that's horrible.
It was insane. I was
Oh
like,
man.
wow. Okay, so my last
Yeah.
unscripted question is what has been the all-time best family vacation that you guys have took? Like the entire family, like all the kids, the wife,
Yeah.
Finn, everybody. Because I'm sure Finn has came on some of the vacations.
Yeah, I think if we're including all and everyone,
Like
it,
everybody. Finn, the kids, the wife, everybody.
yeah, I think it was when we did just some remote canyons in Utah where we were
Nice.
just out there with packs, sleeping in rock overhangs, just kind of being as we were. No luxury this or luxury that. It was just us hoofing it through the desert, living kind of in this natural world and just being and enjoying the presence of everyone just being there and
Yeah.
aware and appreciating like a little bit of shade, a fresh spring, maybe some, a wild game that we scrounged up. That's really the best, I mean, there's been quite a few where Finn hasn't been involved, where we've gone to like Central America,
Mhm.
those sort of things. But I think if
I
we're
always like to add in like the pets because some people don't consider them family. I'm like, I consider Enzo
yeah.
part of the family, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've done quite a few, like a lot more outdoor stuff when the dogs are incorporated. But even if like we all shoot down to like, Central America, we're gonna go to Belize or someplace like that.
Yeah.
We just kind of roll with the punches, stay in local areas, catch fish. We just do our thing. So, but I like the times we've gone out to Utah and even in Colorado with all the dogs. Even like I have a place in New Mexico and then a place in Texas, and those when all the dogs and all the kids are there it's an absolute blast. It's just
That's awesome, man.
yeah, it's a good time. It's
If I had to
absolutely
pick two,
yeah.
I mean, all the England trips are great, but like, I've had two dogs in my life. One was called Penny, and then the recent Penny passed away a couple years ago, and then
And now Enzo.
Enzo. So I want to include Enzo and Penny. So if we took the dogs and the family to California, that's a great one.
Cool.
And then there's a place in Missouri that's a great camping area. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's considered a resort, but they've got both. You can do rugged camping, and then
Cool.
you can do comfort camping,
Right
where you
on.
where you can like rent a log cabin or a teepee, or you can bring your RV. And it was called Lost Valley Lake Resort, and I have so many great memories of
Oh, that's
me,
awesome.
my dogs, my mom, my brother, my grandpa, and grandma, and we went fishing for like 2 weeks. It was,
Cool.
I'd say those two are my all-time favorite like family vacations. It
Oh,
was
that's awesome, man.
like I'll cherish those memories to the day I die. It was amazing trips.
Ah,
So yeah.
that sounds like a great time, man. Those are the ones that stick with you forever. So I love hearing it. I love
And
hearing
when
it.
we were talking about the props, I just thought of a better one. You know, like when I said the challenges, I've got an even better one.
Okay.
I want you to make your favorite movie prop with like stuff in the bush.
Okay, like a Stone Age, survivally primitive.
So
Okay.
if you think of like a prop, like all right, how would I make the Jurassic Park cryo can in the bush? You
Or how
know,
would I make the Halloween mask in the
yeah,
bush?
like out in the bush. Yeah, some like you
All
pick.
right.
I just thought of that. I was like, oh, you know what's an even better one than the
I,
ones I came up with? I'm like, since I like props, I'm like, ask Donny. Hey, Donny, can you make your favorite? And I want you to pick your favorite, not
okay.
mine. I
I
want
like that one.
I want you to pick your favorite prop out of any movie, and you make it with all the resources in the nature in the bush.
Okay, I like that one. That's a good challenge too. I'm not
Yeah,
saying like some of them aren't challenging, but that makes me think about like the prop and
yeah.
then like okay, I like it.
Because you've made other prop, like someone said, hey, can you make this knife out of Dune? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the
And
ostrich leg.
that's an easy one because you're like, oh well, I'll just take this and I'll make a knife, and that's how it looks like in the movie. But I'm like, go outside the box. Like think of
Yeah,
like because you don't use any steel or copper or anything. I like the stuff. The greatest part about it, guys, in the chat is he makes like anything out of nature. If it doesn't come from nature, he doesn't use it. You know,
exactly.
because you could cheat and be like, oh, I'll make like a steel axe blade. No, no, I want a rock blade.
That's what I'm saying, man. All right, I like that. That's a good one. I like that one.
So
That's
my two would be the raft and then the homemade prop in the bush.
all right. What's your favorite? Can you make your favorite movie prop, but like primitive style or nature based? All right,
Yeah, yeah.
done.
So after this interview, I'll text you the question, and then whenever you get around to it,
All
uh,
right,
I'll put my name in. I'll be like John Fears asked, and then do your classic, yeah, and then
all
go
right,
right into it.
all
So
right.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably repost that on my channel because
Yeah, go
I'm
for
like,
it,
yes,
man.
he finally made one. Sweet, hell
No
yeah. I'm
worries.
looking forward to it. I'm excited. Hell
Cool,
yeah.
man. Cool. That's
Because
a
I
good
just thought
idea.
of that. I was like, oh, I love props. John, why didn't you think of that last night? So yeah. Hey, what's up, Randy? Good to see you.
Howdy,
Yeah,
howdy.
Randy says the vacation with Randall. Yeah, yeah. Randy's my best friend from film school.
Oh,
That's a
cool.
yeah. That vacation Randall was pretty good too, buddy. All right, moving right along. This is called In the Bush Stories. I got a couple questions.
Sure, fire away.
So the first one is you've got a lot of stories and in the bush with by yourself with Finn with everybody. If you could name me two of the most dangerous times in the bush, like that you literally thought I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get out of this situation.
Yeah. So this one was probably like a year and a half ago. I was scouting a canyon for a buddy of mine that was going to be bringing some teenagers into the desert,
Okay.
and he asked me to go scout this canyon and find a water source. And I had been in this canyon before. It's probably like 12 miles long, super high walls. And how I've entered the canyon was always from like this lower elevation, close to this kind of like slow moving river. But
Okay.
for this one, I was going to drop in from the top, and I knew there was a spring at the top, and it was maybe about a 3 mile hike to get to the rim, and then I had to shimmy down all these rock faces and cliffs edges to get to the bottom. Once I got to the bottom, the spring was completely dry, and
Okay.
water naturally flows downhill and will always seek the lowest point. So I said, let me start to walk down the canyon and see if I can find pockets of water. So I kept walking and walking and walking. And eventually I got to this one area where it was kind of a cliffed out area. And if I kept going, I eventually could reach the river. But if I turned around, I was going to have to go all the way back out. And from that whole walk, there was no water. I could not find a
Oh
source of
man.
water. I had already consumed the small bottle of water that I had, and I had been walking for probably several hours. So I'm like, crap, now I got to walk back. And if you've ever been in these slot canyons, it's all sandstone and the sun hits it and it's like walking in an oven. It's just super
Oh
hot.
wow.
So I'm walking up and eventually I get all the way to the very top where the dry spring was. I go to the top of the canyon, and as soon as I get to the top, I start to get tunnel vision, I start to vomit, and I start to like pass out and start to go down. And I had not consumed any water for several hours. And as I was walking, I wasn't able to walk far. I kept like falling over and stumbling. And essentially, I was dying of dehydration and then sun exposure and just the heat from the canyon. And I got to this one like little shady bush and I sat there and I said, okay, I think this is going to wind up being, this is, kind of game over. So
Yeah.
I started to prepare myself, my body, essentially to allow a search and rescue to find it easier because I knew I was going to wind up like kicking the bucket. So I pulled my wallet out of my little wrap and stuck it in my pocket. I took off a little bit of my extra clothes and ripped some stuff off my shirt and put some indicators in some trees because I'm like, this is very likely it. I just need to make sure that my body can get back to my loved ones and
Yeah.
that they can ID me the most. So I was doing all these things ultimately to prepare and just lay down in the ground and just die and let the ants and coyotes get me. And as I was doing this, preparing ultimately for it, I was just like, you just got to keep going though. Like this isn't it. But if you pass out 1 mile down this extremely hot area where it's just radiating with heat, if you go down, at least there's something behind you that they can use as an indicator. And as I kept going farther and farther, leaving little indicators and stacked on some rocks and kind of hanging on this little shrub over here, I just kind of had this thought like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. Every muscle in my body was cramping. I was probably vomiting every 20 or 30 steps.
Oh,
And then
wow.
and I just kept moving to these little spots of shade just to get a little reprieve. And
Yeah.
then eventually over time, I made it back to my truck without really even realizing it. Like I was just completely out of it.
Well,
Got to
thank
my
God for that.
Yeah, got to my truck and there was a little bit of Gatorade in a bottle, drank it, threw it immediately up, laid underneath my truck to try to just calm my body, and then got back in my truck maybe 30 or 40 minutes later, started it up and drove out. But I think that was one of those times where like the elements, I was so close to like just passing out. If I wouldn't have stopped and kept like taking a breather and a knee, it was just going to be game over. But yeah, it was just kind of weird preparing myself, my body to be like, all right, they're going to look for you. Let's just make it easy for them to look for you. Let's give
If
them
you
some
wouldn't have got back
indicators.
to your if you wouldn't have got back to your truck, how long do you think you would have made it more? Like another hour?
Um, yeah, maybe till sundown. And I say sundown because soon as the sun would have went down, it would have gotten extremely cold. And I just would
Yeah.
have went from like no longer sweating, no more liquids in my body to it being extremely cold. And I probably would have just died in the night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was definitely pretty extreme. And then up in Alaska, I've been up there quite a bit, but there's a lot of this is this is kind of a freaky story and kind of like a funny one, but it
Okay.
still gets me.
I'm ready.
So there's a lot of bears and there's wolves in different areas. And I was kind of on the fringe of Anchorage, Alaska, in these mountains, doing some hiking and just doing some scouting. And there was a lot of warnings for wolves that were in the area.
Okay.
So I went all the way up to this mountain ridge and kind of peeked over the far side and said, all right, that's where I want to go the next day. I'm going to go back and get some supplies and kind of get prepared. And I just kept thinking and hearing like the sounds of like, all right, there's wolves out here, they're moving in packs, you're a solo, you could be a potential target, this whole thing. And I'm just building up this scenario in my head the entire time. And as I'm walking down, eventually I can see where I parked my car. It's maybe like 400 or 500 yards out.
Okay.
And as I get closer, I kind of come around this bush and this wolf comes right around the corner, running as fast as it can, right towards me, like straight on, right towards
Oh,
me,
wow.
and then runs right by me. And
Oh,
as this happens, I kind of let out this like oh, like it's time to fight, it's time to do this thing, and it just
yeah.
runs by me, and I'm like, what the heck? And I turn and I look at it. Is it coming back for me?
Yeah.
Well, none of it was even real. The reason why it wasn't real, it was an old man walking his husky coming this way who let his dog off the leash and it
Oh,
just took off running. So it scared me. But that was like such an intense moment where like for me, I'm like, this is it. It's man versus wolf. We're gonna get in
yeah.
this fight. And it was so short in time, but so intense and so real that it still sticks in my head.
Because you
That it
didn't
was
probably see that guy right away, and you're like, it's like this
I had
wolf's
no
coming
idea.
at me. I'm
I
like,
had no idea.
does this wolf want to eat me? I would be the
Exactly.
same way. I'd be like, well, like if you come at me,
This
it's
is
on.
it. Yeah. So as it was coming, so like when I compare like the long term of like feeling dehydrated and the sun and the exposure in the canyon, it was prolonged. But even in that short time when I came around that bush and that dog was actually running at me, I'm thinking it's a wolf because it's a husky. It was so short and compressed where I was like dizzy afterwards, like, holy shit,
Yeah,
this was about to be it. Had no knife, had nothing on me, but the dog just ran by, like, hey, what's up? Boom, just took off. And
yeah,
I'm like, whoa, ah. And then there's a guy
yeah.
walking around the corner. It was like, it was just this whole thing of like, oh my
Wow.
God. So one very real, the other one in my mind was very real. But the whole moral of both of this is survival is very much a physical thing, and then it's
Yeah.
also very much a mental thing.
So
I build,
I've got two little stories that's kind of like yours.
yeah,
One funny, and then one I was scared to death.
yeah, lay it on me.
So I was at fifth grade camp, and me and my friend were walking down, and I doubt there's a lot of poisonous snakes in Missouri, but
Yeah,
there's I don't think this one was poisonous, but I wasn't about to stay around and find out. We're walking down this path, and I've been terrified of snakes ever since this happened. I don't like snakes. I don't want to hold them. I don't get them near me. So I'm walking down. I'm on this side. My buddy's here. We're walking down this kind of dirt path, and there's some leaves on the trail. I have
okay.
no idea there's a big black snake underneath it. Well,
Oh
clearly, if
man,
you step on the leaves, it's going to get pissed off.
yeah,
So I'm walking, I step on it, it shoots out, and I jump up because it went near my feet, near my
yeah,
legs,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
let out the biggest holy shit ever. And I fucking took off running,
Oh, that's funny.
which is like I don't know, like certain animals, if you run, it'll chase after you, but that's the fastest I've ever ran in my entire life. I felt bad. I left my buddy in the dust.
Nah, no, that's
And
funny.
then I got about halfway down the trail,
Yeah,
and uh, and then I looked, and I was like, oh, thank God, he's running too. So that was the funny one.
that's good.
Uh,
It's
the
a scary one.
the next, so that was the funny one. The one that almost terrified me. There's a lot of bears, and there's a lot of grizzly bears and black bears in Missouri.
Yeah,
That's like bear country, and
a lot of black bears.
there's a lot of a bear in Colorado, I would presume, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's only black bears. There's been some potential sightings of grizzly bears, but most of the grizzly bears are up in like Montana, some in Wyoming, into Alaska, into Canada. I don't think there's any grizzlies in Missouri. I think most of what you have is black bears.
Okay, well then
Yeah,
that's probably what it was. I guess
yeah,
since I was so young, I thought it was a grizzly bear because
of
I was
course.
terrified out of my mind. Me and my friend are at church camp, and because I went to Boy Scouts, they were like, "Hey, John, like not a lot of people like want to build the fire because we would always end each night singing church songs around the campfire." I said, "I know how to make every type of fire." I said, "I
Yeah,
studied that in Boy Scouts." I said, "I can make whatever you want, star fires, log cabin, teepee." I'm like, and then she goes, well, do you need any help? I said, I can do it myself, or me and my buddy can do it.
yeah,
So she goes, if you wouldn't mind making each one, and then at the end of the campfire, like putting the water on it, removing the wet logs, and then make a new one for tomorrow. And so I
cool,
would do that every night. I'd remove it, build a new one, and then I would always light it. So
sweet.
they all went back to the cabins, and it was like one path to get to the campfire site, and then you had to walk down a path to get to like all the cabins, and then we had like a lodge. My church camp it's huge in Missouri. It's a
Yeah,
very nice one. It's rugged though. Really, the only air condition you get is in the lodge, and
gotcha,
and then where you shower, and then sometimes there's cool air in the cabins, but not much. But I
gotcha.
love that camping style. So we're walking back, and I kid you not, Donnie, it was like something out of a horror movie. I guess I forgot to put batteries in my or change the batteries in my flashlight because it kept going on and off, and
Oh,
I
jeez.
kept going like that. And
Yeah,
my friend's like, "Dude, it's pitch black." I said, we're almost back to the cabins. It's fine." And I guess I thought it was a grizzly bear. It was probably a black bear, but
yeah.
this happened so long ago because I went like that, and this must have been the quietest bear because I didn't hear him. I didn't hear him come onto the path. Me and
Yeah.
my friend are walking, and then the flashlight went out, and when I smacked it, the light came on, and about 40 feet in front of me is
Oh,
this massive bear. And
oh
I
man.
guess I scared it because it got on its hind legs.
Oh
And I
man.
went, holy fucking shit. And I fucking took off running. And I've never been more scared in my entire life. I thought that thing was
Oh,
going to kill us and eat us.
oh, that's funny, man. That's like something out of a movie,
I,
without a doubt. Tap, 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 and boom, there it
and I
is.
was like, I'm in a real life horror movie. And I've told this to the fans. And some
That's
are like,
cool.
are you being for real, Fear? I'm like, I am dead honest. I'm not lying. I'm not kidding. I'm
Oh,
like, it
that's awesome.
scared the bejesus out of me. So, yeah.
Oh
By the
man.
way, the fans, if you guys got any questions for Donnie, put the questions in the chat. If not, then I'm going to move on. But yeah, I just wanted to share some. I just wanted to hear some of your bush stories. The next bush story is what's the most, if you had to pick two of the most dangerous animals that you've came across, what's the most like you can only pick two of
Yeah,
them?
I think the most dangerous is probably like African lions, and
Okay.
I would definitely say like African like water buffalo. Those water buffalo are really, really aggressive. The lions can be really aggressive as well.
And
That's just
I would presume they're pretty territorial too, right?
Yeah, they're very, very territorial. They're very curious at times. I mean, they're the big boys on the block, especially
Oh
water
yeah.
buffalo. They'll charge you. So, just my time in Africa and sleeping in the bush, those are just constant considerations. I mean, compared to like bears and moose and mountain lions, they just don't compare at all.
And I loved that story where Finn came in your fence. How big was that moose? I forgot to ask you. How big was it?
Um, it was so if you think of like a horse with like antlers, giant antlers, that's so probably close to like 2,000 plus pounds. Man,
Ooh,
they're
wow.
they're big. They're
Yeah,
big.
Boo says never turn your back on a big cat, right? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't want to ever turn your back to you really like anything, but especially a predatory animal.
Yeah.
It's gonna give you a go. So
So my next question is what's
yeah.
next for Donnie? What's next in life? What's next for TikTok? What's next for YouTube?
What's next? Well, I guess in life, I'm my wife is pregnant, so we're gonna have.
Congratulations, man.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. We're gonna have a new little dust, a boy
Nice.
running around here around February.
Nice.
So that's gonna be a whole new world of baby stuff at 46 years old, kind of doing that. But
So
super,
how many children do you have so far and then the new one, how many will that
yes.
make?
So I have two sons already, one that's 19, one that's 16, and
Okay.
then another one that'll be here in February. So that'll be three
Nice.
boys.
That's
Uh,
awesome, man. Congrats.
Thanks, man. I'm super excited, super pumped. And I think really what's next is just kind of the classes that I'm going to be teaching. I got some work up in Montana,
Oh,
and then
sweet.
some movie sort of gigs that I'll be helping support and building some things for. I can't go into like a lot of the details as of now, but once those things are released, we can definitely jump back on here and we can go over
I was
some of
gonna
that.
save the movie questions for last because we're getting towards the end of my cheat sheet. I thought, oh, I'll save the best for last.
No worries.
Um,
But yeah, just I mean, we're getting like it's hunting season here, so I'm going to be heading out for a good number of days.
what season is it? Is it deer season or what's
It's archery season right now, and then we're going to be rolling into like first rifle, second, third, and fourth
nice?
rifle, and then it rolls right into like waterfowl. So this is the chunk of time where I put a lot of meat in the freezer, just for the upcoming,
I've only
winter
went
and into
hunting
the years.
once. I'm sorry, hunting twice. We hunted in Boy Scouts. I didn't catch anything. I caught a lot of fish in Boy Scouts, but I never
Right on.
actually like killed anything bigger than that. And then I went hunting with one of my dad's friends, and I
Cool.
almost it was so close. We were doing bow hunting,
Oh, cool.
and the arrow went through the trees, and there was like if this is a tree and this is a tree, the deer was in the middle, and it went right through the trees, and it went right through his antlers.
Oh, no kidding.
And I was like, I almost got a headshot, and he just moved, and I was like,
Yeah,
damn it,
that's
because it
it,
went
man.
right through the antlers, and I was like, Dad, I almost got him, and he was like, you know how deer? I said, yeah. I said he doesn't
Yeah.
move a lot, but if he would have not moved, I would have got him right in the head.
You would have been having more venison sandwiches, my friend.
Exactly. I love those sandwiches. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
that's
what's
that's
next
it.
for me is I got a big vacation coming up. Like I said,
Cool.
I haven't met Mrs. Fears yet. I would love to have marriage and kids and stuff. I'm always on the lookout, but
There you go.
I'm stoked out of my mind to be an uncle.
That's cool.
It's it's my brother's first son. His name is Shelton, and
Cool.
he is the cutest little guy ever. My mom sent 1,000 photos and videos, so I've already bought him some clothes
Right on.
and I already bought him some Halloween stuff. So I bought him a sweatshirt and sweatpants. So he's only 4 months. By the time I go and visit, he'll be about 5 months.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's good
Thank you
stuff.
so much. It's
That's
awesome.
really good stuff.
And he's like the cutest little guy ever. He's
awesome.
great. So the last two things I want to touch on before I finish up with my Inside the Actor Studio questions that I always end with, because I love that show. Is at the beginning we touched on anything is an option. And I wanted to just explore a little bit more of that.
Sure.
And I love that statement. You've said it a couple times in your video, in your TikTok. I'd say you said it more in your TikTok than your YouTube. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Absolutely.
So when you mean anything is an option, like, I mean, that's more, I'd say it's in the bush and in life. And I want you, I just want more, if you can go more into depth of anything is an option.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I say that, it falls back on that creative idea. It's maybe looking at a piece of wood or an antler or, maybe a car tire and saying, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
Everything and anything's an option. So maybe with the car tire, you build some sandals out of it, or you use it to keep a fire going or for a signal. It's saying that everything that exists, something that's in the natural environment, wood, bone, rock, water, plants, or something that's in that more kind of modern environment, trash, modern conveniences, um, anything, you can build something out of it to enable your ability to survive in any given situation. So I'd like to really just, capitalize on that point that anything and everything is an option as long as you're willing to put forth the effort and turn it into the ability to problem solve. So you can even go one step further and say, hey, I want to explore YouTube. That could be an option to making a dollar, reaching a larger audience, and maybe shifting your life in certain ways. Maybe getting a college education. Anything is an option. Maybe learning to speak another language. All of those things in any form and how they come. It's really just based on the person putting the effort in to make that option a reality.
Because those two are like probably two of my favorite quotes. The creativity thing off your website was probably my second favorite, and then anything is an option. That's my favorite quote that you've done. And when I first started watching your videos, my first impression was when you said anything is an option. The first two things that popped in my mind was, all right, he's a survivalist, like a caveman, and then I thought of the TV show MacGyver because he would always do. I don't need a gun. I'm smarter than you. He just used anything around him, that defined his character. Anything is an option. He'd be like, they would lock him in a cell, and he'd be like, "Well, I'm going to get out of here." And then no, you're not. And he's like, "I'm smarter than you."
His name is Richard.
They would leave him alone, and then he would unscrew the light bulb and be like, "You're an idiot. I'm going to be out of here in 2 minutes." He would unscrew the light bulb, take the filament, and pick the lock, and he was out of there.
That's it, man. Richard Dean Anderson, who was MacGyver, that was my favorite show to watch as a kid because he worked for like the Phoenix Foundation and he was always solving these problems. Really, really creative. Always had a pocket knife, and I
have that pocket knife. That's one of the first movie props I bought.
Oh, very cool.
It's not the actual one. It's a replica, but I have.
But like,
it's right there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of those Swiss Army knives, and I think maybe there was a little bit of him that rubbed off on me, where some people like to coin the phrase like Survivor MacGyver, like you got to MacGyver that sort of thing, and I just think it's fun to do,
And one of the best memes that I've found on YouTube, I started saying it in my podcast a long time ago. I found a meme years ago that says, "When in doubt, you got to MacGyver it out." And I was that's fucking hilarious. I was
you got to MacGyver it out. Yeah, it's classic. So
but that was my two first impressions of you, and I wanted to know what was your two first impressions of me?
I think my first impressions of you were kind of like, this guy is energetic, I would say, is absolutely
Absolutely.
like he's full of like just constant and consistent energy. There's no like, oh, John's having a bad day. I mean, you
Yeah.
can. It's just not a thing. Like
I
you're a
do have
hundred percent.
bad days, but I try not to show it online. I took a negative and I turned it into a positive.
Yeah.
I have hyperactive disorder and I have attention deficit disorder.
Okay.
So, like when I was a little kid, I had to take 3 Ritalin pills a day.
Wow. Yeah, but
So,
I don't see anything really in the negative. So I'm like, all right, he's positive, he's 100%. That's a good thing. That's I would like to kind of call leading by example, a good role model. So
yeah.
you were consistent in who you were, and for me, that just goes into you're authentic. And I
Thank
think
you.
that is really the biggest thing I resonate with a lot of people is, are they authentic? Am I going to get the same person, as I'm seeing, as I'm talking, as I'm getting to know you,
Yeah.
like you're just who you are, you're authentic, and that's probably my first impression was like, this guy's very authentic to who he is, and
Mhm.
that's admirable. So
Awesome,
I
man.
think
Thank you.
that's really I mean, that's something to admire. And then this guy's very authentic would absolutely be
When I was
those two
young, I
things.
thought it was like a negative, like all the energy. And then when I started YouTube, I was like, John, you can't think like that. I'm like, take all that energy
Yeah,
and put it into your job, into college, into your videos, into your TikTok. And I begged my parents. I said, when I go to high school and college, I said, I'm sorry, when I went to college, I said, Mom, I want to wind off the riddle. And I said, I can do it by myself. And she's like, Are you
yeah,
sure? And I said, I can do it. I said, I'll just focus all that raw, epic energy into my passions, my dreams, my work. Like I put a lot of energy into my job at FedEx, and it seems to keep me balanced, and
good.
it's worked out. So yeah,
Right on, man. That's it. I
yeah.
mean, you're good to go, man. You're
I
good to go.
appreciate it. Bukaki
Yeah.
says one time I saw MacGyver make an explosive out of a stick of gum and a Hershey bar. Try to do the same as a kid, and it didn't work out for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, we all tried that one.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of the times on that show, do you remember at the end it said there was a warning at the end? It says you can do everything in this show if you know the proper techniques, and then it had like a warning like, do
Yeah.
not try any of this unless you know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
They
There
said
was
it, they
this
said it in a
caveat.
nicer way, but they would always end the show as the credits were rolling up. I
Yeah.
remember that warning, like that disclaimer, like we've researched it. You can do these things,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
have to know what the hell you're doing. You
Yeah,
know?
that's the key to it is he knew exactly what he needed to do, and they were like, God, we're gonna have a bunch of young 12-year-old kids trying to recreate
Yeah.
landing a plane with only, a few things when the pedals are out. Yeah, that's fun.
I'd say like his three big tools. He used a lot of duct tape. He
Yep.
used this knife,
Walking
and
in.
then he used his mind.
Yep.
Those three things:
That's
his
it.
mind, his knife, and his duct
Yeah,
tape.
a
You know?
mind, a cutting tool, and a binding agent. You can't go
Yeah.
wrong with it. You
And so
can't go wrong with it.
those are my first impressions because I was like, he's a caveman. But I meant it in a good way. I was like,
Yes.
dude, I'm like, the beard is epic. I'm like, caveman is rocking, and then he is MacGyvering it out, and then some, man.
I appreciate it. That's a very nice thing to say, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Those were the two things, and I was like, heck yeah. And then my last thing before we do
Yeah.
the Inside the Actor Studio question is, you've made so many things,
Yeah.
and I thought, okay, I'm like, I'll save this question for the last. I've got two last questions. What are the top 5 things that you've loved that you've made just strictly for TikTok, not your YouTube? Like when people have asked you, can you make that? What's your top 5?
This right here is my favorite. This is my top one. This is a macawaddle. So it's
Yep,
that
I've seen the
Aztecs.
video. It's on the side is obsidian. I've seen that video.
Yeah, I like this is probably my favorite one, and like
Okay,
people threw a lot of offers to buy it, and
nice.
I couldn't do away with it. It's kind of like a home defense weapon, I guess you could say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So absolutely this one. The other one I enjoyed making was the Chris knife from
Yes,
Dune.
I've seen that one.
Um, and that one I think I liked making it the best because a young kid said, "Hey, I'm a big fan of Dune. Could you make a Chris knife?" And I said, "Absolutely." It
I
was such
think
a
that
great.
was wasn't that one of the first like props that you made? I remember
Yes.
that. I remember that video. Yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those props, but I made it, and then I knew he was younger, so I like said, "Hey, do you mind if I chat with your parents? I'd like to send this to you." It was your idea,
Oh,
So
sweet.
I want to send it to you. And like they gave me his address and I sent it to him and he was just ecstatic. So I like I like that sort of thing. So Makawaddle, the Chris knife, and then
You got three more.
there's a big battle axe that I made with two pointed ends out of another ostrich leg. I really liked making
Oh
that
yeah, I've
one.
seen that one. You said let's make my version of it, and then you
Yes.
said ostrich leg. Yeah, that one's one of my faves too. Yeah,
Yes. I liked my zombie apocalypse with all the antlers that I
yeah.
gave
Yes.
to a guy that was cleaning my chimney because he just recognized it. I'm like, well, you can have it.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and then I think the one that I this is kind of a funny one. It's the one that it'd be number 5, but I hate making spoons, wooden spoons, because I just don't like making them. But it was one that I made for TikTok that got, a lot of views because it was like, can you make a spoon? Yeah. And then it went to me being like, I hate making spoons.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
made
yeah.
it, and it was just one of those things where like, people got to see like a little bit of side of Donnie. Like I don't really go into a lot of who I am or what I am, but people quickly learned I hated making spoons. And then in a lot of videos after that, when people would ask, hey, could you make a spoon? Somebody would reply like, he hates making spoons. Don't ask that. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say, yeah, the Maka Waddle, the Chris knife, the battle axe, the spoon, and what else did I say? Oh, the Chris knife.
Yeah.
Those are probably the top 5. I enjoyed making those.
All right, here's my top 5.
Let's hear
This one is without a doubt my favorite.
it. Right on, man.
That's my favorite one because I just love how you did it. You're like, can you make an obsidian knife? Yeah, and then you go like it's in the book, and all this. Like that's my favorite video, and
Cool.
my so this is number 1. I love the zombie apocalypse
The deer
thing.
antlers.
The deer lantern one. That one, that's my second one. I love the push dagger.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
And then was it the Warhammer that you did with the ostrich? What was it, that one?
Yes. Yeah. The Warhammer. Yeah. With the big
That's
hook on
number
it.
4. That's number
Okay.
4. And then number 5 is when you made a backpack, because it was so out of left field.
Oh, right on.
Someone said, "Can you make a backpack?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
That backpack I thought was really cool.
Oh, right on, man. I appreciate it.
So I'd say those are like my top 5 things that you've made.
Sweet.
But yeah.
Well, I still have.
And then-
I think
and the-
I have the Warhammer downstairs. Next time I mail you a package, I'll include the Warhammer, the official Warhammer.
Oh, I would love the Warhammer. Like that goes center stage. I'm running out of room on that shelf. I told my audience. That's why I put it down at the bottom.
No,
and
you're
then
good.
did a joke. And you're like, you got to put that on the top here. It's going on the top. Trust me.
You're good, man.
And so when I get the Warhammer, I'll either put it by the tree or I'll make an official video. I'll put it up there.
Right.
But yeah, or I thought about mounting this.
There you go. Yeah, I put a little thumbtack and I hang things. That's all I really.
Because the 3 that I've got mounted the wall, my friend Randall in the chat, he gave me Randall loves Mortal Kombat,
Cool.
and I thought that's one of my favorite video games.
Cool. Yeah.
And he gave me from the very first movie, the guy with, I forgot his name, the guy with the laser coming out of his eye.
Cyclops?
He used the knife to try to kill Sonya in the very first live.
Okay.
So Randall had a replica of that guy's knife, and so I've got that on the wall. Then I've got a replica of Jason Voorhees' machete, and then I've got MacGyver's knife.
Cool.
I only took it off the wall to put it on the shelf because I wanted to show you this.
Cool. Yeah, was his name
And-
Cage? Was it Cage?
No, Kano.
Kano, that's it. Kano, that's right. That's
It's half of his face, like from here to here.
Yeah, it
it's
was
like
metal.
It's a silver plate with a red laser that shoots out of his eye.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And he had a massive, it had edges on the side and then a curved blade. So if you stuck it in someone's gut, you could go like that.
Rip it out.
And I was like, Randall, if you don't want that blade, he's like, you can have it, John. I was like, sweet, it's going on the wall, man.
That's awesome, man.
So I know you can't touch on the movie and the TV stuff, but I wanted to ask, has anyone ever asked you to be like an extra or a person in a movie? Because I know you've done a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
But I wanted to focus more on the stuff that I asked you, but I wanted to cover it. Have you ever been like in an actual production like movie? Because before I die, I've told my fans, I don't care what role it is. Visions is one of my good friends online, and I think he missed it because I think I didn't see him in the chat. I told Visions one of my favorite sci-fi characters is like Snake Plissken. That's what I'm going to be for Halloween.
Oh, very cool. I like
And I
Snake.
said I would just love for like Kurt Russell to do another Snake Plissken movie,
Yeah.
and then me call him an asshole, and then he blows my head off or cuts my head off or kills me on camera.
Yeah. So I mean, I was in a movie. We filmed it and we shot it in 2019, and it was kind of funny because my job for the movie was I was the set medic and safety coordinator.
Okay.
For this movie. So it was being shot in the remote deserts, and sometimes for those movies they want somebody that's been in those areas and then has a medical background and like trauma, things like that. So
now, can you tell us the name, because since it was made so long ago?
It's called The Big Bend. It's actually on Amazon right now.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And so I was the set medic and safety coordinator, and just monitoring everyone's health and safety and well-being and running lines as far as like if somebody was going to have to walk through the desert, I would go through and clear out snakes and make sure everything was safe for all the actors and actresses.
Nice.
So as we were into the production, it was there was a character and his name was Rio, and they hadn't cast him and they were going to cut him out. But the director, whose name was Brett Wagner, he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, we've got this role. We were thinking of just cutting it, but we think this guy is you. So would you be interested in this character?" And I was like, "Well, what do I have to do and what do I have to say?" And he goes, "Well, here's the funny part. You really don't have to do anything extra except really just be yourself." So he's like, "Do you happen to have a loincloth and can you make a spear to spear some fish out of a river? And then the two leading actresses are going to come over to you and you're going to rub mud on their bodies. And like, it's this sensual sort of scene. And you're in the river. Your name is Rio. And we just want you to say what you would say if you were in that situation." And I was like, that's all I got to do. And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, sure, I can do this." So I actually drop off my medical pack and change my clothes, cover myself in mud, build a quick spear, and then they're like, "Action." And these, these two actresses, they come up and they've been in like all sorts of movies that have been on like HBO and Uncle Drew and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Just remember, say what you would say." So I kind of kick into this like little monologue and welcome these ladies, and the earth is a connecting line and the mud is something that can help shape us and remove the harshness and rejuvenate the soul. And sure as anything, I'm thinking it's going to get cut from the movie. And then fast forward like a year and some change later, I'm walking a red carpet on the premiere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wearing like my leather vest and my sandals, going to the movie premiere. My name is, in the credits, and I'm in the movie, and I'm like, this is absolutely totally just trippy because I wasn't hired as an actor, but I just kind of fit this role, I guess you could say. So that's actually out on Amazon right now. Won a bunch of awards at these different film festivals, but it's called The Big Bend, and I'm in it for maybe like 10 15 minutes, and that was my my acting debut. But
awesome.
Yeah, so there's been like I've been hit up to be like extras in different small productions and films like that, but it really just boils down to time. I mean, yeah, I wish if there was like a zombie apocalypse or like some weird dude living in the mountains by himself, they would cast me for it.
You'd be perfect for that role.
Be like,
everyone, I don't need any props. I've got a million of them on the wall. You just tell me what you want. I'll grab some off the wall. I'm ready to rock and roll.
That's really how I got started into the film. Was it just started with one producer and then another director reaching out saying, "Hey, we're doing this recreation piece, and would you be willing to make all the different props and stuff for us?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I kind of gave him my price points and I said I could mail it. And then as we had multiple phone conversations, they were just kind of missing the mark with the authenticity of these things and what they wanted. So I said, "How about this? Why don't I just come to you guys and I will bring everything that I own and we will just create."
You guys just take your favorites.
Exactly. And that's kind of how I got my foot in the door.
Okay.
And then from those, I've done recreations for, like a movie called Napper, and there's been some other smaller ones, but where I've really just tied myself into it is from the set medic and safety coordinator, because when you're filming in remote locations, um, you, you need to have somebody that's familiar with being in a remote location
Yeah.
and can address if something happens to somebody. Like there's no cops around, there's no ambulances around. I am
Yeah.
essentially that person that's monitoring the weather, making sure roads are capable of getting the trailers down, the grip trucks down, all these different vehicles to support the movie, and making sure that one of the production assistants, they've suddenly got poison ivy and I can treat them. So there's a whole lot
Yeah.
of roles and responsibilities, but it's a fun kind of thing to work in, and it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those
The
other
next question
things.
though
Yeah.
is I know you can't tell us much, but you said there's a new movie project coming up. Are you in can you tell us, are you in the film or are you just working behind the scenes like a medic?
Behind the scenes, but from a recreation standpoint,
Oh man, awesome.
we're kind of having some discussions at this point, but it's
Well, whenever it gets closer, since you got my number, text me because
I
I
will.
want to know. I want to know what you do because now I'm curious.
We'll keep them guessing,
I
right?
won't say nothing. I promise.
No worries.
And then the last movie question I have before we
Yeah.
do the Inside the Actor Studios questions. I've told my fans as long as I get to do some of these, I've done a topic on my Goofy podcast where I'm like, if I had the opportunity, I'd want to play these roles in movies. So if you could do 3 roles in a movie before you die, what type of roles would you want to do?
First, I'd want to be a pirate. I just think that looks like a
Oh,
super
yeah.
fun, like a swashbuckling sword,
Like Johnny
drinking.
Depp style.
Yeah, like that kind of pirate.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm gonna go with the stereotypical like Viking one because I feel like that'd be just very easy to do, and it would be fun to be in like battle scenes. Even if I got my head cut off, it would still be fun. And
Plus,
then I
you
would
got all the tools that Vikings already. That'd be perfect. Yeah, it would be perfect for you, Donnie.
And then I would like to do something where like kind of Lord of the Rings, where like I'm a character that is not necessarily a dwarf, not necessarily like an orc, but like just kind of like this oddball character that's there, that's kind of mythical, like something that is mythical in the form of like maybe I have some powers or something to that extent. But like I think that would be I think that'd be pretty cool.
My three top favorite, because I like zombie movies so much, I would want to play a zombie. I wouldn't care what type. I would go up to Greg Nicotero because he's a great makeup and special effects guy. Be like, Greg, make me the most disgusting
zombie,
like disgusting rotting zombie of all time.
Yeah.
And then just have somebody kill me off, And then if they ever make another Snake Plissken movie, I'm like, either play like Snake's sidekick or his son,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Call me Cobra, and I play Snake Plissken's son, or just have Snake kill me. And then the third one, just in some type of comedy, I don't care what kind.
That'd be cool.
Like if someone was like, hey, John, like we need an extra in this comedy, I'd be like, I don't care what role it is, as long as it's got a good script, as long as it's funny as hell, and as long as I get to play something not too risque, but like it's funny and it's.
I could see you in like a Kevin Smith movie.
I would love to work with Kevin Smith. Absolutely.
Like that fandom, that comic book, that like movie. I could definitely see a Kevin Smith movie.
Because I love conventions, as we all know.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much for the interview. And I'm going to end with the Inside the Actors Studio because that's probably one of my favorite programs when it comes to movies. So
let's do it, man. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. And like I said, I got you. I'm going to keep in touch. And
cool.
You don't have to send that Warhammer, but if you do, that's icing on top of the cake, brother.
Right on.
Yeah. So your birthday is in October too.
Correct.
So mine's the 28th. What's your birthday?
The 7th.
Okay, cool. So I kept your P.O. Box address. I'm going to send you a little thank you present because you did not have to do this.
No worries.
And so in that thank you present, I'm going to I'll send a birthday card too, man.
Oh, you don't have to do that. I do appreciate it, but it's not necessary.
But I'm going to send a little thank you. So I appreciate that. You are you're a new friend, but you're an awesome new friend, buddy. We'll definitely keep in touch. And I was so excited. I called my mom and said, "Mom, I'm excited, but I'm nervous." And my mom's like, "How many followers does he have?" And I said, "Mom, this is the most famous person I've ever interviewed."
I'm nobody
And
special.
and then she was like, "How many?" And I said, "Mom, you have no idea, like 10.5 million." She's like, "Get out of here."
Oh,
I was like, "I'm not kidding." So I was nervous, but I fully prepared. Like this last week, I watched as many of your TikToks, and then I just went through the book and said, the whole book's great, but I want to focus on these topics,
appreciate it.
these chapters. And then I said, he's a big movie guy, so we'll talk about movies.
Cool.
And then the zombie thing, I was like, he's big into zombies like me, so I said we can relate on that. So
Yeah. And
I hope you enjoyed the interview.
I did, man. And like I'm just like everybody else. Just because there's some followers doesn't
Yeah.
change who I am. I relate to everybody and anybody. I still have things that I like and
I tell my fans that too. I'm like, even if I got, you know, 1 billion subs, what you see with me is what you get. I would not change. I'd be like, because some, you know, like some TikTokers, YouTubers, they get so big and the ego kicks in, and then they're like, oh yeah, whatever, fuck my fans.
Yeah.
That would never happen with you.
Yeah,
It's like I would still talk to Bukaki and Randall in the chat and Visions. I'd be like, hey guys, we're still gonna do our goofy podcast, you know, on Fierce Vlogs. I would not change.
Yeah, man.
You know?
That's been me. I'm Donny, who I am. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an outdoors lover. All the TikTok and YouTube, I enjoy those things. But if they were to go away, I always told my kids, if they liked it, you know, the TikTok, their dad was on TikTok and their friends knew who I was. But I said, if it ever comes too much, I'm happy to leave. Like you guys.
And I know your kids. I know your kids have been in some of your early. Like I remember one of your very first videos on TikTok. It was you and your two sons in your truck, and you guys were driving somewhere.
Yeah.
I can't remember where you guys were driving.
We were driving down a mountain road, and I said, "Oh, drive through," and I ate some spruce tips off the tree.
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And then you hear your kids crack up.
Yeah.
I mean, they were dying of laughter in the back seat.
Yeah, they were young then, but that's like the only time I've ever had them in there, and that was kind of as
I thought that was funny though. Like if I ever have kids, I'd be like, I would encourage the movie props, but I'm like, if you're not into movies, you do your own thing, you know. Like the props is my thing, you know. So
yeah, that's my one rule with my boys is you guys can't be me. You have to be yourself.
Exactly.
You have to discover and figure out who you are and what you are and go with it. But you can't be me.
That's probably, I should have said that when we were talking about what's next. What's next for me is I want a better job. I want to find Mrs. Fears.
There you go.
And I want some babies.
That's it, man.
Because I don't want to get married when I'm 70. Because I'm already 40, about to turn 42. I'm running out of time. I need to find my lady.
You got
the last lady I was with totally messed me up. She totally like just used me and then
threw me
to the curb.
Sorry,
it's all right. It was a great learning experience.
You
know,
I was
like, now I know to never date that type of girl. I want to find a sweetheart.
That's
you
know? They gotta be kind. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Right on, man.
All right. So the last remaining questions. All right, we're gonna go into the inside the actor studio question. I always end every interview with this. Yep. So everyone that I've interviewed, they know it's coming. So the first one is, what's your favorite word?
Favorite word is
yeah. I was like, it's either going to be that or something related to like hunting.
Yeah.
All right. What's your least favorite word?
Sorry.
Okay.
I think it gets overused. I think people apologize way too much when they shouldn't have to. Like, I mean, it's just said without regard. I just, hey, don't even say sorry. If you messed up, hey, you messed up. You don't have to apologize.
Because if I do agree, but like sometimes when I've said sorry, I've only said sorry when I absolutely like mean it.
Bingo.
Like when I'm like, oh God, I feel like crap. I hurt that person's feelings.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, you know.
That's like, when it counts.
But if someone's like, oh, sorry, I'm just like, dude, come on.
Yeah, that's bingo. That's it right there.
Yeah. And then the next one is, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, and emotionally?
Nature. The absolute wild side of nature.
Okay. What absolutely turns you off?
Cities and like large amounts of population, people, and all that stuff condensed. It's just ugh.
Okay. And then one of the best questions on Inside the Actor Studio, you have permission to curse. What is your favorite curse word of all time?
I like fuck stick.
Nice. Mine would be you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
I love that one. That
I
one's
like it.
it's powerful. It's
That's good. That's good.
What sound or noise do you love?
I like the sound of cracking stone, like when it
Oh yeah, the
breaks.
flint napping. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
What sound or noise do you absolutely hate and you wish you could never hear that sound ever again?
I would probably say like one of my dogs has a very distinctive bark, and I just don't like it. It just gets me in my ears. It
Is
just,
that
ugh.
Finn? Is
No,
that Finn?
not Finn. Finn doesn't bark. He howls.
Oh,
But like
good.
one of the dogs just has this bark, and I just like screech
Okay.
every time. Every time.
Enzo barks a little bit, but whenever he sees the tennis ball, he lets out a little ooh, like because he's
Yeah.
excited, and it's a kind of a I don't dogs don't whistle, but that's the closest thing.
Closest thing.
It's like he gets excited, he's like ooh,
Oh,
like
that's
that,
funny.
and that's the
That's
best
funny.
way to describe it, and because he goes nuts over tennis balls.
That's cool.
I'm sorry, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I think I would have liked to have been maybe like a pilot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think a pilot would be
Like a
pretty cool.
commercial pilot or a private pilot or what?
I think maybe more on the private side, like flying bush planes, but I
Oh,
would
nice.
enjoy flying. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
love travel, so yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
absolutely.
And then, what profession, under any circumstance, would you never want to try ever?
Ooh, probably a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For me, it would either be politics or it's too creepy. I would never want to work for a funeral home or a
yeah,
morgue or anything. I'm like, I know they get paid a lot of money, but I'm like, that's not for me. I mean, I
yeah.
love horror movies. I love horror movies, but surrounded by death every day, I'm like, I'm good. You
Yeah,
know?
that's how the zombie apocalypse starts. Usually in a
Yeah.
morgue.
Yeah. You're working on a body and all of a sudden it jumps up and bites you right in the friggin' neck.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then the last one is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Hey, we've been waiting for you for a while. Welcome.
Nice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I, I tell my fans, since my dad's passed away and my grandfather's passed away, I'd like to hear him say one of these, either one or two.
Yeah.
Either like, because I'm a big foodie, I love food. Like, hey, you hungry, Fears? Either that,
Yeah.
or just have God look at me and say, hey, Fears, your dad and your grandfather's over there, and the beer is over there.
Ah, there you go. The card game started, and your pops and your grandfather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
That's
Because
cool.
I miss my dad and my grandfather so much. My dad inspired me with the photography. He
Awesome.
loved photography. He liked film a little bit. My grandfather was more into the video stuff.
Awesome, man.
My grandfather bought well, it was state of the art at that time in the 80s. And my dad and my grandfather shared the video camera.
Oh, cool.
But then when my grandfather died, my dad took over the video. But my dad's two favorite passions were he loved to whittle.
Cool. Yeah.
He loved making things out of wood. Like he had so many whittling tools, and he whittled like a duck out of wood. He
Cool.
whittled a wood knife
Awesome.
out of wood. So he put a knife like on a shelf and just looked at it and then just
carved it. Oh, that's awesome, man.
It made it look, and there was so many stuff, and my mom gave me some of it, but I didn't want to bring it to Florida. When I moved out here, I brought just the essentials, and I said, Mom, keep all that in storage, and when I buy a bigger house, when I get married, the only reason why I haven't bought a house yet is I don't need a big house until I get married. It's just me right now. And then my grandfather inspired me with all the film. He loved film.
That's awesome, man.
And then he loved my grandfather loved guitars.
Oh,
he
cool.
Loved music. He loved music.
Wow.
So he wasn't filming the family events. He was jamming out on the guitar.
That's cool, man. No, that's great, man. I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. No
problem.
And it was great to learn more about who Fears is. Like I said, you're a very authentic and admirable person.
Thank you.
And it was great to kind of learn about you, ask you some questions, and hear more about you.
The other night, you have to watch the last few streams. I was telling the fans, I'm like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I said, it's the most famous person I've ever met. But before you I don't know if you've ever heard of Tommy NC2010. He's like one of the very first like celebrities I've met. He's like he's in my YouTube community,
Yeah.
and he has over 100,000. He came to
Oh,
stay
cool.
with me, and I interviewed him a while ago. And so and then whenever you go to these conventions, it depends on their handler, you know,
Yeah.
or what I don't know what you call them. When you go to Comic-Con, you can have you took your sons to Comic-Con?
Yeah, we've been to a bunch, but I know what you're talking about, like the little managers or handlers when you're signing
Yeah.
the booth. Yeah.
Some of them, they're all about like, oh yeah, ask the actor whatever you want, film, go nuts, go ballistic. Other times they're like, oh no, you're not filming my client without like signing a form. And anytime I've gotten to interview those are cool. But you've definitely been one of my favorites because I've been wanting to, like, ever since I watched your like first 5 or 6 videos 2 years ago. I'm like, that guy's coming on the panel. I said, I don't care how long it takes, it's happening. So yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. No, the honor's been mine, and yeah, just thank you for the opportunity to
No worries.
sit here and
It
chat with you.
It was an honor to interview, and we'll definitely keep in touch now that I got your number.
Sure.
And I told my mom, I said, hey, one of these days, maybe I'll make a trip out to Colorado. We'll do a vlog.
There you go. We'll bring you out in the mountains.
I would love it, man. I would love it. I'll bring my obsidian blade. Hell yeah.
That's all you got, man.
That's right.
We'll just bring some blades and we'll go live in the bush. That's
because I would like to cut something like this. My friend, either Boo or my friend Vision said, you got to cut something with it, John. I'm like,
yeah, steak.
I don't really have anything here. I thought, oh, I could make a parody video, like make a sandwich and then like cut it with this. Yeah. I'll come up with something. I'll make a video because I've already made one video, and they were like, you got to make another one. I said, I'll cut something. I said, I don't know what it'll be, but I said, I want to cut something with my blade. You know, because when I got it, I washed this and like cleaned it, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna film I haven't filmed it yet, but I want to film something with me cutting it.
Get yourself a good steak, cook it, and then cut it, and then eat it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something like that. But yeah, and then maybe in a couple months, if you ever want to come back on the podcast, let me know. I know you're busy, but we'll have to do a follow-up, man.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to, and I would appreciate that greatly. I think these next couple months.
And then if you wanted, like on Fears vlogs, you could come on the goofy one where we bullshit about movies.
Yeah, man, you heard me talk. I love movies.
All right, cool. So we'll have to do a follow up on the goofy one, and then on the professional one.
Yeah, I think like I said, these next couple months between my last classes of the year and then hunting season, and then with the kid along the way. So I think maybe when the new year hits. And
that'd be perfect because I'm busy too because I know you got the kid, and then I told I just bought my tickets. Like I usually do all that in advance, but I've been working and editing so much. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna buy them. The last 3 days I was searching for my tickets, and I was getting worried. I was like, I called my mom. I was like, she's like, you haven't bought your ticket yet? I was like, Mom, I've been searching and hunting for 3 days, and I finally got it yesterday. So I'm going to leave on the 26th, and I'm coming back on the 5th. So I'm free anytime after October 5th. So you just let me know. We'll keep in touch.
Yes, sir. I do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. And John, I have to say this was an amazing experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bukaki said it right. He said, good interview, Fears. Hell yeah.
Awesome.
And real quick, after this, I'll text you the question I want you to do. Because when I thought of the props, I was like, that one's better than the rap. But keep the rap one.
I will.
You know,
I will.
Second in command.
I'll keep that back there because that will just be like the right river and the right materials.
Because the raft is good, and then as soon as like you brought up that blade that you made for the kid, the one out of Dune, I was like, I love movie props. I'm like, just make your version of your favorite movie prop, and I'll text it to you as soon as we get done. Because
awesome.
If you made a Michael Myers like in nature, I'd be like, dude, how would that? Because the hair, you know, and then the white. But I want you that's one of my favorite. I want you to pick your favorite prop.
Got it.
Out of one of your favorite movies. I don't care which one it is. And just say, hey, Fears said make a prop. Well, I'm going to do it Donny style. Let's head to the bush, you know?
Awesome. I'm in it, man. Sounds like a good deal. Let's get
and then one last request. I just want you to look into the camera and say, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. Awesome. Now I'll do my version. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. You're the man, dude. You are the man.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it, man.
Well, don't forget to check out Donny at DonnyDust.com, and then check him out on TikTok, Donny Dust, and on YouTube. Check out Fearsman26, and Fears Vlogs. And this is Donny, and this is Fears, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys.